have things to do. That's why they come to you. Advanced Windshield is the leading mobile, auto glass, and camera calibration provider in our area. Call 225-248-6788 or visit advancedwindshield.com.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. here on Tuesday, July 9th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect rainy skies with a high of 93. In hour one of today's show, we'll react to the players that are heading to Media Day to represent LSU, and we'll talk some college football from a national perspective. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number one of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let we go! Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what up, yo? Welcome back. OTB. T-Bob, Jake Hester, Jacob Beck, and Taylor Sharp hanging out with you today. Hope you're having a great Tuesday here. We got a good show planned for you today. We know who's going to SEC Media Day, like Taylor told you. I want to talk more about USC and Brian Kelly as I continue to think about this game and how massive it is, not just for the LSU Tigers, but also for USC and Lincoln Riley, as Paul Feinbaum coming out and saying this could be Riley's last year in Los Angeles, which seems a bit crazy when you first hear it. In the end, probably is perhaps a bit hyperbolic, but there's some legitimacy to engage with there when you think about what has happened to Lincoln Riley thus far. I think LSU has a new recruiting rival, guys, that you never would have guessed, and it's Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks. And it looks like they could be coming to a head for a third time here in a couple of weeks, or in about 8 days. And here's hoping LSU won't be on the losing side of that for the third time in a row. We'll get into all of that this hour. So it's going to be a great hour here on OTB. If you want to get involved, youtube.com/1045ESPN. As always, subscribe to the OTB Saints and OTB LSU channels. What's going on, guys? How are we feeling today?
It doesn't feel like media days are here, but they are. I mean, Big 12 starts today in Las Vegas. I think they're going to have 2 days, so today and tomorrow. And they're doing like 5 players a piece, I think, and obviously the coaches.
It's a lot.
That's a big conference too, and 5 players in 2 days' time. As we know, the SEC takes their time and they spread it out as long as they can, which I understand that as well. So yeah, it's here, which means the football season's near.
Yeah, that's right. Nice job, Dr. Seuss.
Thank you.
Yeah, and look, LSU will be kicking off the entire event next Monday, and we'll be there. Beck Sharp, how are we feeling today? Feeling good? Feeling good, awake, ready to go? Right on.
Not as awake as I'd like to be.
Okay. Why? No NOS this
morning?
No,
I missed about 3 phone calls from Beck saying he needed to be let into the buildings. He was outside for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, he was. He texted me, and I was dropping Jackson off, and I was like, oh, hope he gets somebody to let him in. And then I pulled up. He's still there.
I did text you as well, T-Bob, but I was not expecting anything from you.
It was my fault.
I was in prep mode.
He was locked in.
It's okay.
Yeah, Jake walked in there. I had lights off, locked in. I've discovered this new YouTube channel. And it's this young, I don't know if they're a romantic couple, but it's a young couple, a male and a female. I don't know. They're looking maybe from like Italy or South America. I'm not entirely sure. But all it is them playing super chill house music in beautiful locales outside while like making croissants. or coffee and biscuits, and it's the chillest way to start your morning. Shout out Flavor Trip. So I was in Italy enjoying some nice house music and coffee when you must have texted me. Anyway, let's get into SEC Media Days. As Jake said, it is upon us. We'll be there next week in Dallas, and we now know who's going to be representing LSU. And the names are. It's interesting, Jake. The names are both obvious and yet maybe a bit intriguing at the exact same time. Harold Perkins, Garrett Nussmeier, Mason Taylor going to media day. What's your initial reaction when you see those three names?
A little surprised Will Campbell's not there.
Yeah, for sure. That was on my mind
reactions. Too. Now, all three players, you can make a case for them. Certainly Garrett Nussmeier and Perkins. So for Nussmeier, not surprised that he's there, but it really just solidifies who he is on this team. He's a leader. He's a captain. He's the voice, all that kind of stuff. And so, now we've seen teams, and there's teams in the SEC Media Days this year that aren't bringing their quarterback. I know Kentucky comes to mind. So that's not just a given that the Kentucky quarterback was going to go, and he's not going, just like any quarterback, right?
I think when your quarterback doesn't go, I actually think it says a lot about what you think about your quarterback. It's generally a sign that you're not a full-on believer that they're going to be great, or maybe they're not one of the biggest leaders in that locker room. So, no, I'm actually someone who always reads way too much into whether or not you bring a quarterback. And so, yes, this is not that you needed any, but this is in some ways further validation of Garrett Nussmeier for sure. But you're right. I mean, Perkins and Nussmeier feel obvious. Mason Taylor is kind of the interesting one here.
He is, because just of the other names that feel like they could have been in this spot, like Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and others. Now, that's not to say that Mason Taylor, like him being there, is not really the shock. It's who maybe's not there with Nussmeier.
I mean, look,
and Perkins.
it's all juniors. It's rare that you see an all junior SEC Media Day. Sometimes teams go with just experience over anything. I mean, even last year, it's kind of funny. Josh Williams went last year. Now, obviously, not going this year, which again makes sense. He in terms of leadership, in terms of being an upperclassman, he was, more alone last year, whereas this year's team is very junior laden. No Greg Penn, no Major Burns, which is no surprise. He doesn't do a lot of media availability. We've talked about that on the show. I wonder with the Will Campbell thing, because I think Will Campbell would have been great, and we'll talk to Will later this week. But and you'll see, right? Ever since we interviewed that kid in high school, he's been really a fantastic interview. I wonder if it's a situation where maybe they went to him and said, "Look, this is what we're thinking. Are you cool with this? Do you want to go? Do you care?" Maybe he didn't want to go because him and Emory couldn't go. There's a few different areas in which I could see. I guess what I'm getting at is I can't really fathom a world in which they didn't ask Will Campbell before Mason Taylor. Yeah. And there's no disrespect for Taylor, because I think, again, like we've talked about plenty, Mason Taylor in that tight end room is the key to making up for the lack of Jaden Daniel rush yards this year. That's the position group that will likely benefit the most from the quarterback change. Brian Kelly's been excellent in his college career developing tight ends in that tight end room. So I think, again, there's legitimacy to Mason Taylor being there, but I just cannot fathom that Will Campbell didn't get first right of refusal here, and then for whatever reason maybe said, you know what, let somebody else go, and then you have Taylor end up there.
I mean, you know what I feel about Will Campbell. I went on Feinbaum yesterday, and I reiterated he's the best player in the country, regardless of position. I think Will Campbell's the best player in college football. So I'm with you. I'd be surprised if he wasn't asked. Like, you bring up Emory Jones, they are super tight. It could have been a situation where he's like, nah, my partner's not going, I'm not going. Not disrespectful to the people that are going, but they are so tight. And, Emory Jones is a top 5 tackle in the country. And so there's a lot of choices, which is a good thing for LSU. Yep. Certainly, you've listed off a couple of other names. And so the guy's going, I totally get it. But Will Campbell just being, again, what I think is the best player in college football not going, that is a little bit of a surprise.
Now, I want to get into expectations. Statistically, what you would expect these guys to do this year. And we can start with Nussmeier because quarterback probably has the most obvious benchmarks to hit. What would you qualify as a successful season for Garrett Nussmeier? Is it 4,000 yards? Is that how high the expectations have gotten? Is it 30 touchdowns? Those seem to be, those are the great benchmarks. If you really want to get into just like, am I using pedantic correctly? If you wanted to be pedantic, if you wanted to get married to the words that I'm using, maybe successful could be something less than, maybe what I'm describing is more elite or more award worthy. But with how LSU quarterbacks have played recently, it would feel like 3,500 yards at least would be the bar, 65% completion and, 25 touchdowns. And that's crazy, though, considering how exorbitant those numbers would have felt just a couple of years ago.
So let me ask you this. If he had the same season as Quinn Ewers at Texas had last year, would that be a success?
Give me Ewers stats because I don't think Quinn Ewers' numbers were very good last year at Texas.
Well, they were
by Dylan Gabriel. They were. Well, I'm saying they were exactly okay.
That's kind of my point. Yeah.
Yes, they were successful, but they weren't elite.
So
they were not near the elite of the country.
He was 15th in passing yards last year. Quinn Ewers was. He completed 69% of his passes, 3,479 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like, look, that would be a completely. It sounds crazy because again, those are really good numbers. That would be a solid season out of Garrett Nussmeier. I wonder if it would be enough for LSU fans.
Now, for Jaden Daniels, he had 3,812 yards through the air alone, 72.2% completion percentage, 40 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 11.7 per attempt, which by far led the country.
Yeah, and so obviously that's never going to happen, right? That's so maybe if you can fall somewhere in between there. Again, it's funny that just a couple of numbers can make such a big difference, but if you push that touchdown number from 22 to 25, I think that's massive. Just in terms of how our brains work when evaluating a season, you push the yardage from 33 to 35. I think that's massive as well. Now Quinn missed a couple games.
Yeah.
So that maybe played into that. But again, that's one of the reasons why, I get why Quinn Ewers is such a good NFL prospect because the touch he throws with, his size. But in terms of proving to be like a super dominant college quarterback, I think Quinn Ewers still has some work to do.
Well, Jackson Dart's kind of in that same category too. So he throws for 33, 64, 65% completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
But Dart had a little bit more running with him than Ewers did.
Ewers did for sure. But that's kind of like you start to look across like Drake May, 63% completion percentage, 3,600 yards, 24-9.
There you go.
So it's kind of
probably 35 and 25 would be great. Would be a very successful first season.
Yes, 35 and 25, then you're a top 15 quarterback in the country.
65%, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns. A very high bar. A very high bar. And yet if Garrett Nussmeier should achieve that, I think LSU will likely end up probably 10-2, at least 9-3, and maybe even in the playoff. What about Harold Perkins? In 27 career games, you're looking at 147 tackles. They don't really care as much about the raw tackles numbers. Though a middle linebacker will come to play more this year. But in 27 career games, 26 tiffles, 13 sacks. So basically averaging a tiffle and a half sack per game for his career. What's a realistic goal to put on him as he moves towards the middle?
I'm going to be honest with you. I got to see what position he is going to play and how it's going to play out because that's going to matter. Like you said, if he plays stack backer, then the tackles are going to go up. Maybe the tackles for loss goes, south a little bit even. You want the sack numbers to at least stay where they're at. But if he is a guy that's first and second down, he's in the box, but on third down, he's on the edge, then that kind of changes the conversation.
Yeah.
So I think you have to figure out what his role is. We have to figure out. Like Blake Baker and the defensive staff, they feel like they've already got a pretty good idea, but I think that changes maybe when you start talking about raw numbers.
So remember, we talked to Blake Baker yesterday, and we started the interview asking about Damone Clark, and he went out of his way when talking about Damone Clark and how basically once he simplified things for Clark, he could see it really start to take off. Remember, he made the connection to Perk without us pushing him there.
Yep.
Yeah, as he was talking about Clark, he said, I've seen the same thing out of Perk this spring. Well, what were Damone Clark's stats? 130 tackles, 15 and a half tiffles, and I think 6.5 sacks. Maybe it was 5.5. I don't know about that raw tackle number. I mean, that's an absurd number. I mean, all those numbers are, but maybe around that 15 TFL. Again, sacks could be a weird one depending on how they use him. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but around 15 TFLs, 5 sacks would feel like if the tackle number went up as well because you're playing middle, that seems like a pretty realistic, very solid year. Though, again, it's interesting. That would not be that dissimilar from his numbers statistically last year. You would just have to hope that it was more impactful than last year, where every time you got a TFL or any big play, it was immediately offset by giving up a first down. The next play, 3rd and 11 was a nightmare for LSU last season. And then finally get to Mason Taylor, 26 games in his career, 74 catches, 762 yards. Is it too crazy to think about, could that number get pushed to 50 catches for 500 yards this year?
Ooh, that's a big number for a tight end. But they have talked about it time and time again. Point of emphasis, tight end position is going to be critical. It was in the bowl game for Garrett Nussmeier, right? I mean, he found the tight end a couple of different times. Joe Sloan's even mentioned it. So I think it will be more of a focal point. You mentioned trying to replace the rushing yards that Jaden Daniels leaves with, right? And maybe it's, by the committee of the running backs. We know that, but still, that's not going to make up for everything that you're losing. And so, yeah, I mean, I could see him last year, the leading tight end in the country, who's actually with the Saints now, signed an undrafted free agent rookie Holker, 64 catches, 767 yards. That was the leading tight end in the country as far as yards.
So probably about 40 catches, maybe feeling more realistic than, even though I don't know, the first 2 years he's basically averaged.
Brock Bowers last year, he missed a bunch of games. 56 for 714.
And how many games? I wonder what his per game averages would have been. And obviously Mason Taylor's not going to be Brock Bowers. I don't know, man. I think if you're going, look, he's averaged essentially about 40 catches, a little under, and about 375 per year. If you're going to SEC Media Days, if you're going to be a key part of this offense the way that we think you are, I actually think 50 catches and 500 yards is not that crazy of a jump. If you're already as close as Mason Taylor is.
The yards doesn't feel crazy. Sanders from Texas last year, 45 for 682. Loveland at Michigan, who's going to be the top tight end this year. Well, Brant Kuithe coming back at Utah as well. But those two, he had 45 for 649. So the catches right around there. The yards, I think he might have an opportunity to put up over 500.
Say 45 for 550. Final answer. That's what we want to see out of Mason Taylor. What do you think? Get in the Bayou Ford YouTube channel. Bring it up during the commercial break. YouTube.com/1045 ESPN. We'll get to your comments. Coming up next is Lincoln Riley's job on the line heading into Las Vegas. We'll break it down next here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Allstar Toyota of BatonRouge.com. Allstar Toyota of BatonRouge.com. Look, guys, you want to join me in the MVG, the minivan gang? Well, you can do that by heading over to Allstar Toyota. Go see them off an airline in Goodwood today and ask about the Toyota Sienna. I love them, dude. I got an old one, I got a new one. The new one, it's got that hybrid, man. I get miles. Never run out of gas. When you're on the interstate, you stay in that eco zone. It's actually insane. Driving the whole way to Toledo on like a quarter tank, basically. But that's all the new Toyotas, those hybrid models. But look, whether it's renting, buying, leasing, anything, it's all there for you at Allstar Toyota, AllstarToyotaBatonRouge.com.
It is all there. Everything is available in all three processes, buying, new, leasing, and renting. So if you've got a last-minute vacation, I know we're sitting here July the 9th, but maybe you want to get one last vacation in before August, go rent that Toyota today, save miles in your vehicle, better gas miles, whatever it might be. They have got you covered. Call Miss Lisa Sessions, AllstarToyotaBatonRouge.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
Join me for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Pluckers. Glenn West talking Tigers, Sharif Ishaq on the Saints and Pels, and might get an update on Alec Box Stadium construction. Where is that headed? Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
She got the power in her hand to shock you like you won't believe. Saw her in the Amazon with the voltage running through her skin. Standing there with nothing on. She gonna teach me how to swim. Said, ooh, girl.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back to Off the Bench here on 104.5 ESPN and WBTR Channel 19 on your television. Hello, all of you TV watchers. Hope you enjoyed seeing my pale skin this morning. Let's talk about Lincoln Riley and USC, and I want to approach it from this angle. First, when we talk about LSU and USC, a lot of times we point out all the parallels going in this game, of which are obvious, right? Two of the splashiest hires from 3 years ago. In fact, two hires that really used each other.
Yeah.
LSU used Lincoln Riley as a smokescreen to pursue Brian Kelly. Lincoln Riley used LSU as a great smokescreen to get to USC, right? Being able to say, I am not going to be the head coach at LSU. Didn't say he's not going to be the head coach somewhere else, though. So they used each other. They both got paid over $10 million in some massive, kind of ground-shaking moves. And they're both heading into year 3. They both just lost Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. They both just did a complete defensive overhaul of their staff after absolutely garbage defensive years. However, there are some key differences as well. And mainly, it's that while there are all of those similarities, the Brian Kelly era at LSU has been much better than that of Lincoln Riley at USC. And it's funny because it all kind of turned like everything did for USC the night of the Pac-12 championship. At that point, USC was, I believe, 11-1. Their only loss to Utah. They were looking dominant. They had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Looked like they were going to win the Pac-12 championship. I can't remember if they would have gone to the playoff had they won. But I mean, you understand the point, right? The world was their oyster. And ever since that moment, everything has gone wrong. You get smoked by Utah. You have a just mind-boggling collapse against Tulane. Weren't they up 15 with 2.5 minutes to play?
Yeah.
Find a way to lose that game. Then you enter last season. The offensive line is significantly worse. What'd you finish record-wise last year?
They were 8-5.
8-5. So basically, you are a 500 football team since that night that you entered the Pac-12 championship 11-1. For LSU, they too in year 1 end up playing for a conference championship. And obviously they get smoked by Georgia, which was no real surprise to anyone. But how did they follow that up? They got better. They came out next year. They end up going 10-3, second 10-win season in a row. They have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. It is not to say that there wasn't disappointment therein, but it is nowhere close to the disappointment that Lincoln Riley and USC has been having. Also, LSU dominating on the recruiting trail right now. Lincoln Riley, not so much. So this is why when you talk about, look, again, they're so committed to Riley. It took so much money to make it happen. I don't think he's going to get fired after this year. But the reason why there is legitimacy to the conversation is because you've got a season's worth of bad results, and it looks like this season may get kind of bad as well. You have a lack of recruiting success. I don't know why. Riley's just ignoring California. He wants to try to build this thing nationally, Jake, and it's just not working. He keeps losing out on these battles. They thought they had 5-star Justice Terry committed from Georgia, big D lineman. He just flipped to Georgia. Isaiah Bigson, big D lineman from Georgia. He just flipped. Hilton Stubbs, big safety. He flipped. I mean, how about this? California had 36 blue chippers last cycle. USC signed 4. They have 34 blue chippers this cycle. USC has 2 committed. I mean, everybody who has had success has understood, as much as you can in a state as big as California, it has to start at home, and then you add in. It's the same thing you do at Georgia, at Ohio State, at LSU, and for whatever reason, he thinks he's not going to do it that way. So the results are bad. The recruiting's not good. And now you're moving into a conference where you probably rank, what, 6th? Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, maybe Iowa?
No, I mean, I was right there with them.
So even if you don't agree on Iowa, you're still talking about ranking 5th, and you're paying your coach $10 million a year. It's again. So this is all to paint what's on the line for Lincoln Riley going in. We said yesterday maybe the most important game of the Brian Kelly era. It has equal and perhaps even more importance for that of Lincoln Riley.
To your recruiting point, they are right now 18th in the composite rankings, 1 spot ahead of Rutgers. So that's where like USC is, and so they're not doing the things that they need to get done to be able to go out there and compete with. In front of them is Penn State, Michigan. We know Ohio State's going to be in front of them just within their own conference. Oregon is ahead of them. And there's a trend with Lincoln Riley that I would be a little worried about. Now, there's been a lot of good. We're not acting like that. I mean, they went to the semifinals a ton. They had a Heisman Trophy quarterback, it felt like, every single year.
Yeah.
But they have never been better the next year. 3.
Exactly.
This is where they finished in the country. 3, 4, 6, 6 again, 10, 13, unranked. So he has never had a season in which the next season was better than the one before. It's only gotten worse or stayed the same.
Well, and it's why I think as all this kind of news cycle is coming about, I feel like Oklahoma fans, of which many got very, very mad at me last year when I went on Coward's podcast and talked about how it's pretty shocking to see Oklahoma lose a coach that was having so much success, and Oklahoma fans were yelling at me like, what were they trying to tell the entire country? It felt like sour grapes at the time, and there's probably still a bit of it, but a lot of like, y'all don't understand, like, if you really follow the program, you could see the cracks and the culture was starting to fall a bit. And I kind of rolled my eyes at all of it. But it feels like you're now maybe potentially seeing the same thing, just hyper accelerated because it's USC and that's a culture that was not as good to begin with. I mean, are we looking at kind of a pseudo Jimbo Fisher 2.0, but without ever having attained the heights of a national championship? Like, to your point, Jake, it's a guy that seems to be consistently trending downhill.
Yeah, and again, like those seasons like 3 and 4 and 6, those are great seasons, but what did he take over at Oklahoma?
Yeah, he took over like he took over a well-oiled machine in the class of like Alabama, Ohio State, anything like that.
Now I'll have to check my numbers. I think in the Big 12's history, which it wasn't that long of a history, like this was not a conference that was 100 years old like the Pac-12. I think they won 14 conference championships. Texas only won 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've been dominant for a long time. And he takes over a good program. Now, he still had to keep it where it was. But to not ever be better the next year than you were the year before, that would be a little bit of a red flag for me.
I think it's absolutely a red flag. And I think these are the things that are kind of cloying at USC administration, USC fans' minds right now. And again, you're paying $10 million a year. Remember, he got paid between like the buyout and everything else. There's something like 20 plus million over a few months when this switch was made. It's hard to get exact numbers because USC is a private school, and so they do not have to disclose those numbers, but you're as invested as anybody else in the entire country, and you're just not seeing the return on said investment. And then what makes everything worse is Oregon. Because you're in the exact same boat, and they are just better than you in every single facet. And what sucks about Oregon is they're becoming such a power that now even your LSU Tigers are seemingly running into the Ducks in direct competition multiple times, and I want to get into it next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
GEAUX Tommy's. That's Go Tommy's. GoTommy's.com is the website for Tommy's windows, doors, and siding. Tommy's been in this business for 27 years, y'all. And after 20 years of working, learning, he was like, you know what? I got 2 decades in this. I understand it. But there are things that I would do differently. And so he breaks out and he makes his own business. Now, 7 years later and 7 Angie Service awards in a row later, the results speak for themselves. So head over to Go Tommy's today and make them one of the bids on your project. You need hardy plank or vinyl siding. You need wood or vinyl windows. You need any type of door. Tommy's is your answer. GEAUXTommy's.com.
Yeah, you can check out all the different things they can do for you on that website T-Bob gave you. Check out the gallery, past client results, testimonials, all those things. But don't forget, if you don't see it, that's okay, because they can customize something for you. Like, tell them what you're looking for. They get it done. Go to the website to find all that information. GoTommy's.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Shay Dixon talks about a big recruiting weekend, and LSU commit Zion Williams stops by. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back.
Is Arctic Monkeys right? Good song.
How do you spell Arctic?
Arctic? T-I-C?
What?
A-R-C-T-I-C?
Yeah. I always forget that first C. Or, I mean, I just learned this, that
Arctic.
first C.
Well, nobody says
Nobody pronounces it.
No, I know, but that's what I'm
Arctic.
saying. I just learned last year that there's a C in there.
Wow. Is that worse than you not knowing where Illinois is?
No, I feel like a lot of people misspell Arctic. Also,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know where Illinois is.
Yeah, but they don't think it's where Idaho is.
I don't know.
Yeah, look, just because, it's not my fault y'all call it the Midwest.
Everybody knows Illinois is it's not on the West Coast.
Yeah, but they both start with I, whatever.
He did point to Montana as well.
Yeah,
He
for
did.
Indiana.
Big Ten country.
Imagine this. Imagine pointing to the actual Midwest when describing the Midwest. And I'm the idiot. Okay, sure. Yeah.
I think
you're
it was,
good way to go, guys.
When it was settled and, the West wasn't, really something that a lot of people.
Actually, yeah, that does make sense, actually. Yeah. All right. DJ Pickett. I mentioned LSU and Oregon coming to blows once again. And what I'm referencing here is the recruiting trail. As DJ Pickett, a 5-star plus corner.
Ugh.
Remember, that means that you are a consensus 5-star in every major recruiting outlet. A 5-star plus corner. DJ Pickett's the number 1 corner in the 2025 class. Corey Raymond has been going hard on him since he got the job, since day one. And, DJ Pickett has named his final 3. He's due to commit here in 8 days on July 17th, and it's LSU, it's Miami, and it's Oregon. Miami seems to be lagging behind. Pickett's father was very honest in an interview where he basically said, look, we got to see with Miami. Do they have any with him, or is it going to be same old Miami? Unfortunately for the Hurricanes, his original commitment date was set in October. Since it's been bumped up and you combine his father's quote, obviously that means Miami won't have a chance to prove that they're not going to be regular Miami, which means Miami's probably not the choice.
Yeah.
And look, Pickett loves Corey Raymond. Here's what he said, quote, me and Coach Raymond, me and his relationship is like none other. I feel like he cares for me even when I'm not committed to the team or school yet. He's just a person who really cares for me and someone I can feel like I can go to about anything. I liked LSU before Raymond even got there, but once he left Florida and he went to LSU, it was a no-brainer to go visit and see how everything is. He said, once I visit, I would love it. He says, I learned a lot at LSU about the atmosphere. A lot of people tell you about the environment of it. It's basically like my hometown. That's another plus for me. It's somewhere I feel comfortable at. LSU has a lot of cool people there, and the food is good. He has visited LSU 5 times in 5 months. And interestingly, going into a string of official visits to Alabama and everywhere else, LSU was thought to be, by recruiting experts, Jake, they were thought to be in the lead. However, post officials, Steve Wiltfong saying on July 3rd, if the decision was today, I'd ride with the Ducks. And in case you missed it, LSU just lost 5-star corner, LSU and Ohio State just lost 5-star defensive back Dorian Brew to Oregon. Remember, this was a battle, Jake, that was painted as just LSU and Ohio State the entire time. Because Brew's mother, which one was here? His dad was an All-American track star here. I believe his mom at Ohio State. So you figured that, and everything through recruiting seemed like that was going to be one of the two schools. All of a sudden, Oregon comes out of nowhere. Bam, Ducks get him. DeCorian Moore, number 1 wide receiver in the country. He decommits. Okay, well, he's probably going to Texas. That makes sense. Yada, yada, yada. Where's he end up? Oregon. So they took a recruit out of the DB room that you desperately wanted. They took your number 1 wide receiver, and now DJ Pickett, who you thought you had the lead on a month ago, here in 8 days, we'll find out if Oregon takes him too.
This happens in recruiting as far as a team gets one guy and then they kind of get hot in recruiting and they're expected to have a big year on the field as well. Then it becomes in vogue and then it becomes, wait a minute, hold up. I wasn't looking there before. I have an offer from there. I want to go take an official visit. And Oregon's a place that I am sure that an official visit plays really well there. All the things that they have to offer. Now, you still, have a chance here because recruiting predictors have LSU and Oregon 1 and 2, Miami now number 3, and Miami was number 2 for a long time.
Miami feels like they're out of it.
It does.
Maybe.
It does. So now you're fighting against Oregon. Now, Oregon, a long way away from Florida. Like that is something that is probably playing into your benefit. Now, not everybody does that. Not everybody uses that metric as far as how far somewhere is from your hometown. But, if you want to play in the SEC, if you want to play against the best, like LSU is a great option for you. So, you have to use all those things, and you know that. But I would say, honestly, if I was going after Pickett, hey, we were DBU for a long time.
Yeah.
We were the place that when you looked up in the NFL, the best played at LSU. Okay? We're no longer that right now. What did we do to try to get back to that? We brought back the godfather of DBU, Corey Raymond. You can be the guy that starts it back. You can be the guy that is the next Pat Peterson. Like all those selling points that you have if you're LSU, I think you have a lot to offer somebody like Pickett. So
that is the exact angle. Pickett talked about that. That is what they are selling him on, being the guy that rebuilds DBU. The issue is, what is that? How does that hold up against the pressure of Phil Knight's money? Xevo Marzwani says in the chat, Phil Knight giving out blank checks, question marks. Well, here's a quote from your boy, Jake, Rick Neuheisel. Quote, it's no secret that Phil Knight is supplying Oregon with unlimited NIL resources as he, quote, desperately wants to see a national championship at now 86 years old. And it's what we talked about yesterday. If you're Phil Knight, you're 86, you have everything you want in the world. If you can spend $20 million a year if you want. Funding Oregon. If you want to make yourself feel better about it, you could say, well, I can't take it with me. Or you could just say, well, I mean, look at NFL owners. Their payroll's like 200-something million a year. And I know they get returns or whatever, but like you get the point, right? Like it's easy for Phil Knight to justify giving this money. And yeah, Neuheisel basically saying he is. And so can you manage to somehow get Pickett when I would almost guarantee that they're just able to offer more money?
The NIL valuation for Pickett is $380,000 right now. To kind of give you an idea, he is 25th in high school rankings in NIL rank. Now, number one player in NIL rank is Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
Another LSU commit who right now the valuation, $1.3 million.
That's the thing is, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised at all, though, if Pickett's getting closer to $1 million of an offer from Oregon. Like I know these NIL valuations, I feel like are tough to. It's tough to know like how accurate they are. We just don't have the information of what kids are actually being offered.
That's everything in high school recruiting.
Yes, exactly.
5-star
right?
plus. Like,
No.
we'll see how accurate that is.
On the macro, that stuff is accurate. That is accurate on the
really.
macro. Yes, if you look at draft picks, if you look at all conferences.
I wouldn't say draft picks.
What do you mean? Yes, there's all kind of numbers about how if you're a 5-star, you're like 33 times more likely to be a first-round pick than than a 2 or 3-star. It's not to say that there's not exceptions to the rule, but on the macro, recruiting services work.
Plus.
And then and then Brian LaPlace asking, where is Oregon versus LSU in the blue chip ratio? Overall, I believe Oregon's slightly ahead or maybe slightly behind. But for this class alone of 25, they're both first in the country. They both have 15 commits. They both have 14 4 or 5 stars. Only Oregon has 3 5 stars to your 2. So, I mean, literally the guy that they cook in Corey Moore.
Grit ratio.
I don't think that grit ratio is going to correlate to wins as much as you think it is.
I think it is. Who won the national championship last year?
Michigan did. Who again? Blue chip ratio.
Very low on the little blue chip chart.
Above 50%, the cutoff for sure.
Well, hell, 50%. It's failing grade.
You're right. I don't think you're right, dude. You're
Thank
right.
you.
I don't think Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama's gonna be that good this year. That stuff's all overrated, dude. That don't mean anything.
Overrated and too-rated is two different things.
Having the best players doesn't mean anything. You're right. That's a salient point. Now I agree with you to an extent. Like Ohio State, yeah, I think their culture is their problem, and they have to fix that. I think for Texas, it was their problem for many years. The scary part is I don't think that Oregon's culture is a problem. I actually like how Oregon's culture is trending. So that's what's not good when you combine the grit with the talent, a la Georgia.
That's why they are what they are. Dan Lanning brought the grit to match the talent.
Yes.
Like you have to, like we kind of joke back and forth, but you have to have some of that. Like you can't just be the most talented team.
Yeah,
or A&M would have way more success than they've had ever.
That's why I'm higher on A&M this year than I have years previously, because I think the Elko hire represents a bit of that more humble, gritty approach.
And I'm sitting here looking at the Oregon class. You want to feel old? Achilles Smith Jr.
Yeah.
is in the Oregon class as a quarterback.
Let's go, dude.
Oh, man. I guess all his pops playing the Independence Bowl back in the day at Oregon.
Shout out Achilles Smith. So, look, the point is, here in 8 days, we'll know whether or not Phil Knight wins again, but just so random that in a month, you could have 3 different major recruiting battles lost directly to the Oregon Ducks. Closing out hour number 1 of OTB next.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Community Steel Company, CommunitySteelCo.com. CommunitySteelCo.com is the website. You need purlin, tubing, sheet metal, steel buildings, any steel accessories you want. Community Steel. Where, look, man, you can go get to, well, you can see the product right there because they manufacture it all on site. You get to know the live and local sales team and form relationships they're in, right? They better serve you. If it's business, personal needs, they got you. But maybe most importantly, the best prices, because it's direct from the wholesaler where they buy the steel. They manufacture themselves. No middleman jacking up the price of the back end. No national companies taking advantage of you because you don't have options. No. Best prices, best product, best people. Community Steel Company.
They're also already open. They've been open for 45 minutes. One of the best parts about them, they want you to come see them in Gonzales, Louisiana. Come walk the showroom with them. But if you can't get there today, you can always call them, tell them what you need throughout the state of Louisiana, 225-647-2020.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscone. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
For the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas, and we do first class, second class, no class. Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson's 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Did y'all see how big? Go to 745 and pull up that UGA tweet. Jake, have you seen how big the 24 UGA O-line class is? These are high school kids, guys. High school kids.
Yeah, one kid's 6'11", right?
It averages, the class averages, high school kids have not touched a college weight program yet. Average 6'6.5", 345 pounds. Nair Daniels is 6'7", 371. Daniel Counts 6'6", 365. Easily 6'5", 345. Harrison 6'7", 335. Tolliver 6'5", 315. Weenie 6'7", 335. And then Jair Jackson 6'10", 350. Bruh. That's just, I mean, I appreciate the logic here. Let's just get the biggest dudes possible. Just get the absolute biggest dudes possible and see what happens.
Malachi Turner, 6'5", 315. He's not going to make the cut.
Yeah.
No, get the hell out of here.
Little boy.
Shorty. I think this graphic could use a little work on great graphic design. It's supposed to read thinking big. It definitely reads more thinking by.
Yep. That's what I read it as.
But that's fine. I mean, I think we're all a little by, so that's not a big deal. But just like a little side note. In fact, actually, you can see this. The second comment on the Twitter says, thinking by, weird flex, Georgia. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look at the size of those lads, dude. You better get some of these D-line commits. Bo Davis, you're going to have your work cut out for you if you're going to be competing with Georgia year in and year out. Because I don't know who all – I don't know, like, that's massive. I don't know who all is going to be good out of that group, but I'll be damned they're not throwing a lot of size against the wall to see what sticks. All right, hour
Off
2 of
the
OTB
bench
next.
with Hester and T-Bob.
We still got Mailbag coming up hour 2. We got Shay Dixon kicking off hour 2. We got a lot of Saints talk coming up. Going to be a great hour 2 for you. I want to remind you about the MMR Group, the nation's largest privately owned electrical and instrumentation contractor, and they're headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, okay? Which, again, you know how I feel about that, right? There's a lot of businesses that I love very much that for reasons that are their own, I get it, they've taken their business outside of Louisiana. Not the case at MMR. So if you want to join a company with outstanding benefits, a dynamic culture, you're a student seeking internship, you're just starting out in this business, or you're a seasoned vet, I don't care. We have a variety of positions available. Apply now at mmrgrp.com.
And when you go to the website that T-Bob just gave you, it is in the top right corner. You can click on careers. It's going to pull up what they have available. Also, the contact information right there next to careers. Also, your favorite search engine, type in MMR Group. Multiple ways to get in contact with them, mmrgrp.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques, Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. here on Tuesday, July 9th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect rainy skies with a high of 93. In hour 2 of today's show, we'll be joined by Shay Dixon to talk some recruiting here at 8 a.m. And then we'll talk a little New Orleans Saints as well. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what happening, y'all? Welcome back. OTB, hour number 2. We're kicking off with my guy, Shay Dixon from On 3. Again, if you're not a subscriber to On 3, the Bengal Tiger site of On 3, LSU site, it is absolutely fantastic. It is a daily resource for me in prepping this show. It brings you everything, really, about just LSU in general, but especially if you are into the recruiting beat. Again, guys, I cannot recommend it enough. Shady, what's up, dog? What's going on?
Oh, not too much. How are you, Bob?
Doing very well. And, you know, again, like I said, we use On 3 every day here on the show. And I have been fascinated as of late, Shay, as to maybe the most random enemy for an LSU Tiger fan that I would not expect to find this offseason in the form of Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks, okay? Not only are they the ones that end up with Dorian Brew, they come and take DeCorian Moore, and now DJ Pickett bumping up his commitment date to the 18th, and Wilt Fong saying a couple of days ago, if he had to choose today, it would be the Ducks. Let's start with Pickett. Where does LSU stand with the 5-star plus here 8 days ahead of his commitment?
Yeah, July 7th, a little more than a week to go, Heath. And I think we're at the part where LSU had led, from January when Corey Raymond got hired to now. And what DJ Pickett said before Corey Raymond got hired, he had not looked much into LSU or visited. He ended up getting hired. I think he visited T-Bob 5 times in 5 months and then made an official visit. So obviously very sincere interest. We thought that, okay, Miami will make a push eventually. They have NIL money. He is the number 1 corner in America and a guy from Florida. But it ends up being Miami and Oregon. And as you noted, we've seen Oregon go on this run where DeCorian Moore, the one-time 5-star LSU commit, popped for the Ducks. Dorian Brew, the son of Derek Brew, who ran track at LSU, 5-star corner, he popped for the Ducks. And now we're seeing DJ Pickett announce. So we're not to signing day yet, but I will say that he revealed this info that he would announce within 2 weeks, so about a week ago. This past week and the 8 days that are coming feel like a signing day with kind of what's going on behind the scenes, both the pitch for development, NIL. You've got to remember, this is a guy who early in his process, Corey Raymond put, the family, the Pickett family, in connection with Patrick Peterson's family, being evil folks from Florida, sons of former 5-stars or 5-stars, number one corners, looking at LSU. And that relationship got to a point where when DJ Pickett made his official visit this past month in June to LSU, Patrick Peterson flew in for it and was on the official visit. I mean, they had those photos of them standing together looking at the Thorpe Award. So LSU is pitched heavily. Hey, look, you see where we're at DB. You see what we've done in the past with corners, and you're the type of guy we need. Now we're in the NIL world, and Oregon is playing for keeps here. I mean, they are absolutely one of the premier teams when it comes to flexing your muscles. I'll say this. This is one of those guys where LSU is not going to go down without a fight, even on the NIL side. So I am very intrigued to see what happens in 8 days and then what happens from there, because from the very start of this recruiting process, beyond a Bryce Underwood or a Harlem Berry or, guys like that, DJ Pickett's the guy we've talked about the most because he is the most talented corner in the country, and beyond DT, and they, look, I think maybe more so than anywhere on the roster, corners an area that they have to fix.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, was maybe the biggest point of emphasis in this recruiting class as far as position, because over the last couple of days, you've really done some big things on the defensive front. What are some of the names that committed to LSU over the last couple of days, knowing that was probably your biggest position of need?
Yeah, so defensive tackle, the first two, they had no commits at all beyond what Keelan Moses committed before the staff got here. The only defensive commit they had up to a couple of weeks ago was Charles Ross, coming out of the North Shore in Houston, a linebacker. They popped Jesse Harold a couple weeks back, an edge rusher out of Florida. And now we see the dominoes start to fall. And we talked about this before, Jake, when the offensive staff, they have the number one quarterback in the country, number one overall player, number one running back. They've got probably the best O-line haul so far. But they're also all the same coaches from a year ago. They're coming off having the number one offense. They had a Heisman winner. The defense, everyone got let go. So all of these guys who came in, whether they're experienced like a Bo Davis or not, Jake Olson, who's younger in his career, you're building your board, you're getting to know guys, you're inviting them in for visits. Then you get into the eval period, then you have June official visits. So it was going to take a little bit longer for dominoes to start dropping on defense. But here we are. In this past week, they got Brandon Brown, flipped him from Texas. He had originally committed to the Longhorns for Bo Davis when he was the D-line coach. Now he flips to LSU. He's a 4-star. And then Zion Williams coming out of Lufkin, which is obviously a great program in Texas, coming out of East Texas. But boy, did he skyrocket on Monday. And a lot of people had said in East Texas that, hey, look, this is one of the better D tackles out there. He went from a 3-star all the way up to not just a 4-star, but a top 100 player on On3. I think he's now the number 6 or 7 defensive tackle in America. So that's a big addition, 2 of them. And then one more in Damian Shanklin, the number 1 player in Indiana, who this is one where I think we're starting to see Kevin Peoples, the new LSU's defensive ends coach, kind of flex his muscles a bit. He's gotten 2 commits, both out of state, both top 100 guys. So Landon Damian Shanklin was a big one. And 15 commits right now, boys. 13 of the 15 are in the top 300 on On3. Wow. And they've got the highest blue chip rate. So that would be anyone who's a 4-star or 5-star. They have the highest blue chip rate, 13 to 15, or I think it's 14 to 15.
14 to 15.
Of anyone in the country. So that sort of gives you a feel for some teams have 22 commits, some teams have 20, some teams have 12 or 10. LSU's kind of right in that middle ground of where everybody's pacing towards signing day. But nobody has more, I guess the simplest way to put it, nobody has more quantity over quality than LSU right now.
But
quality over quantity.
There is one other team that does have the same raw blue chip 14 to 15, and that is, again, the Oregon Ducks. And Rick Neuheisel has some quotes floating around out there about how it's no real secret that Phil Knight has basically said, look, or you can get unlimited NIL money. I'm 86. I want a championship. According to the experts, yourself and everybody else in that business, is that kind of what is viewed as in terms of Phil Knight's relationship with Oregon right now? Is it I know like Ohio State, right, has been rumored to put about $13 million into this roster, and we've all kind of painted that as maybe the high watermark. Like, are Oregon and Phil Knight, are they trending around that number? Like, are they amongst the highest in the country?
I love that you asked this, because if Jacob would have asked you this, I'd have given him the very real answer of they're moving towards a revenue. Everyone feels we're going towards a rev share model, and maybe by a year from now we'll be there. Well, in a rev share model, it's going to be something like the NFL, right, where you have different caps and you guys can make different amounts and all the different levels of year 1, 2, 3. I think that with that coming, people see, well, let's just spend our money now. If we're getting to a rev share to where we get to a point where then with the however you assign kind of NIL out, it's not wild, wild west where team A outspends team B. I think this cycle you're going to see teams like Oregon just say, hey, let's spend as much money as we can. And if the legislation comes through that we have to do it differently a year from now or 2 years from now, well, we didn't waste any time when it was the wild, wild west. And you could go out there and give a kid an NIL deal that's bigger than what anybody on the staff beyond the head coach makes. So that's kind of the buzz coming out of Eugene right now. And it makes sense, right? Because the other part of that question would be, when you said it, T-Bob, I'm 86 now. What's the cutoff if you're super rich of, my team just needs to win? Like, was 85 not good? You hit 86 and say, you know what, I'm done with that. I got to win. I think I would have already been there.
Well, but maybe it has less to do with his actual age and more to do with just how the NIL market's developed, right? Like now he can. Now he can fully be unabashed in his investment in Oregon. And with the rev share thing, though, like, wouldn't NIL just be in addition to? Like, because if everybody's going to be sharing the same amount of... Go ahead.
Yeah, but then about how it would break out for, essentially, I think there's a hope, at least, that each school in some way would be working in kind of relatively the same ballpark to where when you get, you can allocate out these funds to where you're not a Miami or an A&M or an Oregon to where you can just say, I'm going to just keep going and going and going. And do I have an answer to that? No, not exactly what they're going to do, but every coach out there I talk to says it needs to be similar to how you would build kind of an NFL contract, for instance, or how the NFL uses a model, what a max would be or what a minimum would be, and things like that. And I think something like that has to come. Like, there has to be some more rules and regulation to this, because look, we saw it when the spring portal, that might be the best example. DTs who wouldn't be recruited by these teams out of high school were making more than the team's quarterbacks now were. Like, there were guys, I couldn't remember exactly who it was, but there was a DT who maybe, let's say, a Jacoby Giller level, if not a little bit better. Texas was on him, and Texas comes out and said he wanted more than Quinn Ewers gets in an NIL deal, and he would be a rotational DT for us. So I think they want to get into a spot where, almost like the NFL, and the high-value DN, offensive line, quarterback, corner, you kind of know the positions that bring good, big NIL packages, and we see it right now. These kids at the On3 NIL series filled out for us anonymously. Look, but here's my position, here's the biggest NIL package I was offered, all this, and it matched up to exactly. The quarterbacks were getting offered the most. The next most were your O-linemen, your receivers, your corners, corner above safety. I mean, it almost matched exactly what we see in the NFL.
Yeah.
You left fullback out, Shay.
I don't know, Jake, I wasn't trying to pocket watch out here and tell everybody how much money you got.
That's right. That's right.
Skip right past that.
All right,
well, I saw your tweet. They start you may not have any money anymore with all the kids. They're charging you extra for a party of 10.
I mean, Shay, what's that about, dude? I mean, you go to dinner with your family, and they hit you with a large party, 20% included. That just doesn't feel right.
And your family's not the loud, rambunctious type where they're, dropping plates and so that they just did that. That's just house rules. That wasn't because they didn't like you.
I know, and I get it, but it's the first time, and it let me know that more is coming. More of that is coming. So yeah, I appreciate that.
More
Shay.
kids. Hell yeah, man. Keep it going.
I told you, I'm not the GM.
Broke it right here. Broke it right here on the news.
I mean, honestly though, would that be breaking news if we had another child?
It would be breaking. It wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe
That's
it.
fair.
Shay, what's the latest on Keelan Moses? I feel like there's been ripples of wobbles. So, chat's been talking about maybe some Oregon stuff there as well. This is a guy who has felt so solid for LSU. Is there a bit of a wavering there?
I think there's probably, much like an onion, a number of layers you could peel back here and kind of get to the bottom of it. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to a couple things. One, it's not a ton of fun to be at the first commit, and then all of a sudden you see all your other friends going out there and doing photo shoots and having visits at big schools and all that. I mean, you got to remember, these kids are 16, 17, about to be 18 years old. You want to hang out with mom and sit at home all weekend while you look at your friends all out, having fun in different parts of the country. I think that's one of it. The other part is, and this is something that happens all the time, I think that kids from U-High just also want to go out and experience other things. So he's a U-High kid through and through, meaning he goes to school on LSU's campus, committed to LSU early on, and then wasn't going to take really any visits. So the whole recruiting process didn't exist beyond campus for him. So I think this was a way, A, to just go out and say, hey, I am still a recruit. I'm getting shown the love from these different schools and experience it all. And B, kind of, look, when you're at U-High, that's just my opinion. I didn't go to U-High, but I've seen enough of it, and I would get it. If you go there your whole life, before you step foot in a college classroom at LSU and you stay there another 4 years, you kind of want to go out and have some fun.
Yeah, don't listen to him, Hester boys. Don't listen to Shay Dixon, what he just said there.
I mean, it's tough.
Hey, Shay, what about the rest of Louisiana? I mean, it's kind of like you look at it, most guys are committed. It feels like LSU kind of, for the most part, did what they wanted in the state this year.
Yeah, it's such a weird year in the state. Next year is going to be a really deep year. This year seemed, look, we had Harlem Berry, number one running back in the country, so very top-heavy in this sense. But your number 2 ranked guy in the state right now is an offensive lineman, Devin Harper, who is playing up at Captain Shreve, now is at Calvary Baptist, but I think he's ranked like number 98, 99 overall player in the country. So a big gap. Like we've had many years where they'll have 5, 6 Louisiana top 100 guys. Obviously, Jabari Antoine's in that same kind of mix. JT Lindsey is as well as the top 125 player coming out of Alexandria. But yes, most of these guys have shut things down or at least committed and popped. The one we're really watching is what is Jabari Antoine, the one-time LSU commit to here when he announces in a couple of weeks. But by that same token, over at Destrehan, Jace Thomas, who is now a 4-star on 300, within the on 300 that came out on Monday. He played his friend. Look, Destrehan is as good as it can be to LSU, but great high school program. He moved from receiver to DB last year, and first year DB picked up some college offers, and LSU had an eye on him all spring, and he came to camp. It took him about 15 minutes of testing into a 4-hour camp for Brian Keller to walk over and say, yep, all right, you got the offer, and he'll announce his commitment here on his birthday. I think it's July 14th. But that would be a big addition for him, a guy who ends up being a top 10 player in the state at safety, and at a school that seemingly every year it turns out somebody that's coming to LSU. Last year it was Kalaj Cobbins, and perhaps this year Jace Thomas. So we're at the point now, though, Jacob, where it's a lot of those guys where senior evals, late offers, not so much that, hey, we're going to wait all the way to signing day to figure out where Jamar Chase or Christian Fulton or one of them go to college. Most of these guys are just getting it done in the summer so that they can focus on their senior years.
Shay Dixon from On 3. Look, it's going to be, as you can tell, it is going to be an intense July when it comes to recruiting and all the competitions they're in, which is a bit ironic considering I think it's like supposed to be a dead period. But the point is, you need to go subscribe to On 3, subscribe to the Bengal Tiger, which is the LSU site under the On 3 umbrella. It is fantastic. Shay, Matthew, the entire crew does a really great job over there covering all things purple and gold. Shady, thank you so much for waking up with us this morning.
Absolutely. Hey, we run the breaker. Do I have like 15 seconds here?
No, go ahead. What do you want?
I need y'all to help me decide. We can mull it over, talk next week. Andy Staples reached out, though, and he's doing a series of memorable games. And he asked me my most memorable game, covering one. And I realized I went through every game, and it just dawned on me this second that the two that I gave him were two games y'all played in where y'all played the biggest roles in the game, snapping the ball, Tennessee, obviously T-Bob, and Jacob, Florida. So, Jacob, you did a lot more, I think, in your game, maybe. Well, T-Bob, you played the whole time.
Wait, relax,
really
dude. Relax. See, classic,
That
I don't
really
touch the ball
helped out.
bias right there. That's fine.
Yeah,
Jay.
100%.
I would have expected
your
more.
ball, but you
I
didn't
would have
touch,
expected more out of somebody who covers football to the depth that you do, to not just fall into the trap of, like, who cleared the way for Jake? What, Ryan Miller?
Not you.
Brett Helms? These guys are just afterthoughts. They don't count, Shay? Swan Black? Carnell?
I got hit in the backfield on one of those.
T-Bob, I'll make you feel better. I chose your game. That was my most.
thank you.
It was the only time I've ever deleted. I didn't even know Twitter was around back then. It was, because I can remember this. The only time I've ever had to delete a final score tweet, and maybe I have before, and I was like a point off, like in a basketball game. But that time I had to delete it because I had the wrong team winning, which was something that's never happened to me.
I mean, it didn't lead to a championship, but whatever. It's a fine game. It's a fine game. Whatever.
And look, you
Fine
just send
game,
the
fine
thank you
game.
card to Pat McAfee, okay, dude? Well, I will too, for what it's worth.
I was about to say.
Shay, thank you so much, my friend. An excellent choice too.
Terrible choice.
On the most
Terrible,
interesting
awful
game.
choice. Shay.
I agree.
Jacob, you get enough votes. All right, I love you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Shay.
Later, Shady. All right, more OTB Mailbag coming up next. He blocked off the bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to youtube.com/1045ESPN. Get your questions in for next segment. Also, get Gordon and get it done. You got any questions about what to do after you get in an accident? Well, I got your answers. You call 225-888-8888, or you can head over to getgordon.com. You can fill out a free online consult. They'll get in touch with you immediately, and you can start to get what you deserve, right? It's get somebody who's going to fight for you, who's going to stand up to the big insurance companies, and who also is going to support your favorite athletes through NIL initiatives and the G Team. So you're going to be teammates with Harold Perkins? Join the G Team by getting Gordon and get it done today.
GetGordon.com is the website. On the site, you can ask a question. You can set up a consultation. You can find past client results, cases they can handle for you in the courtroom. T-Bob gave it to you. At GetGordon's always going to be that handle on all major social media. And if you want to call them, pick up the phone, your area code in Louisiana, followed by 888-8888.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept
So join me for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Pluckers. Glenn West talking Tigers, Sharif Ishaq on the Saints and Pels, and might get an update on Alec Box Stadium construction. Where is that headed? Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
A lot of people kind of, I don't know, this is all kind of turned into like a discussion now about LSU maybe not having the resources or poor or this or that. That's not the case.
They're paying the highest NIL valuation reported right now.
Or they've got, remember, that's not what's being paid, though. That's being what a guy is valued to make on the open market. So, like a higher valuation.
They got the number one guy.
Yes, exactly, right? And so you would think, ipso facto, that, yeah, you're like, those guys aren't doing it for free if they're valued that highly. LSU is not poor by any stretch. They're fine. They're good. I would say they're firmly above the middle of the pack, but they're just not at the, they don't have the full unlimited checkbook that it feels like Ohio State can achieve. Obviously, we mentioned Oregon. They showed Texas, but it's not. It's but again, like I don't know. I don't want this to translate somehow into a like everything is bad situation, because everything's great. You're a top 5 class in the country right now with the highest blue chip ratio. As Shay said, 13 of your 15 players are ranked in the top 300. Like that's one of the best. In terms of just taking a vertical slice, 15 members of a class, that's like among the best that LSU's ever had. So let's not misconstrue what is being said here. I just find it fascinating that you're having a few head-to-head battles with the Oregon Ducks of all people, and this an old textile baron and Phil Knight, who has finally had the rules change around him to where he can fully take advantage of the chip stack that he has. But it's still a damn good class for LSU. Again, you finish top 5 in the country, you get A+ marks. Bottom line. I don't really care about being 2 versus 4 or 1 versus 5. I don't care. You finish top 5. I believe recruiting works on a macro level. That's an A+ for me. So everybody just relax. And there, people are asking about common people's ways to donate. What is it, Jake? They have like monthly donations and stuff that you can do if you really want to. Like
for Bayou Traditions and stuff.
Yeah, like Bayou. Gabriella says regular people can do the monthly donation option. We donate like $50, something that's not much, but I'm happy to do it. Hell yeah, Gabriella, you're a real one. Taylor, why don't you donate $50 a month?
You might.
Yeah, who says I don't?
I do.
You can ask me if I do. Don't assume that I don't.
Do you think
I don't? But
I mean, to be fair, that is where
Well, he
LSU.
didn't go to LSU. He went to Southeastern.
Oh,
so
that's true.
He probably
That's
gives
true.
to the Lions.
Yeah, he gives to the Lions NIL fund.
I don't know if they have an NIL fund.
They have to.
I don't give to that one either.
You should. They need it.
They need it. Yeah, come on.
Are
Support
you
the Lions?
Lion right now?
No. Not.
But that is reportedly one of where LSU's maybe not the strongest is in grassroots NIL funding. But again, like in a poor state, that doesn't really surprise me. Although you could say Ole Miss, and they're very strong in the grassroots, and that's a state that's also got its problems. But
In Ole Miss right
Ole Miss
now,
does have a bunch of rich track hits.
When you start talking to people though, like they are going all in to this, and their hope is that it turns into what we think it's going to, which is big success on the football field. And then after that success, then that just brings in more money. But if it doesn't, they don't necessarily know if they can replicate to this what they're currently doing.
It's also one of those deals where I think one of the huge barriers of entry here is what that $50 means to me versus what it means to a fund that, has what, $7 million, right? Like it's the same way that when you live in a state that maybe you feel a bit differently politically than what the state generally votes. It's how your vote just feels kind of useless. Like in that same way, I think what you have to convince people is that $50 en masse is not useless. Because it does feel like what's $50 against a $7 million budget, right? Versus what's $50 for me in my monthly budget. Because when that comes out to $600 a year, that $600 a year feels like it means more to me than it would to, again, a fund which is pushing $8 million.
I mean, it's like the same conversation. Look, we're in an election year. It's like people that don't vote, it's like, my vote's not going to matter.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's a very hard thing to overcome.
It is, but your vote does matter. Like if there's like-minded people that don't vote because they think it doesn't matter, that could be a big percentage.
Yeah.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Like if you think your $25, $50 isn't like really going to affect anything, and a lot of 10% of the people have the same mindset, then we're talking about what could be a large amount of money.
Yeah, a large amount of money lost for sure. For sure. But it's still it's hard to know without that information presented in front of you, right? Like if in the voting scenario, if you were told, well, look, if only this X amount of people would have actually voted, then it would have gone this way. Then maybe you feel empowered. Like if you were told, like, well, look, all we need is X amount of people donating this per month, and this what it actually comes out to. Maybe you feel empowered to be amongst that number. I'm not sure. I do know one thing. If LSU wants to try to increase those grassroots donations, you know what the best way is? How'd Al Davis say it? Just win, baby. Just win, baby.
Even though their franchise is kind of like.
Not then, though. He ran into the ground.
In the 70s.
But they were tight when he was saying it.
Yeah.
They were tight when he was saying it, and John Madden was out there kicking ass.
God, when the schedule would come out and I'd see Oakland in September and I knew the A's were still going to be playing, miserable.
Brutal. But we actually have a little Oakland talk maybe coming up a bit later. All right, let's do this. Let's go to break. If nobody puts mailbag questions in the chat, we just won't do it today. If you want to do mailbag, hashtag OTB mailbag in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Otherwise, we can dive into New Orleans Saints. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
K to Z window coverings, KTOZblinds.com, KTOZblinds.com. You need window coverings that wow, have Brandon Barton out to your home today and give you a complete read of how your home interacts with the sunlight at any given point during the day. And he will take your home, your most important investment, to the next level from both a functional and aesthetic standpoint. We're talking about temperature control, saving on bills. Maybe you got a master bedroom, baby room, whatever, theater room. You need that thing blacked out, no light getting through. They got you to look at the honeycomb shades. Even comes with built-in sound ebony. Maybe you build those drop-down covers outside so Dad can be grilling and chilling and beating the heat. The bottom line is you take your home, again, to the next level with K to Z.
Yeah, there's so many different options as well. Like when we're talking about, putting, the motorized shade in the backyard, like you have different colors you can choose from. I mean, different types of fabric as well. So many different options. And Brandon Barton and the team are going to know the best options for you as soon as they see your space. K2ZBlinds.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150, $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150, and all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Shay Dixon talks about a big recruiting weekend, and LSU commit Zion Williams stops by 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, let's do a little OTB mailbag.
Special delivery! I have this special delivery for Off the Bench. And look, it is marked most urgent.
We'll be writing to you.
The internet. What the is the internet?
Scott Dice, hashtag OTB mailbag. Is Nickelback still effing awesome?
Absolutely.
Okay. As a resident Nickelback expert. I would side on yes in this debate in terms of effing awesome. Not that I do a lot of casual listening to Nickelback, but, good on him. I appreciate it. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. Is there talk of multi-year NIL deals to prevent dudes from entering the portal and chasing the bag even further? Obviously, this is like Lane Kiffin's been hammering this for years and years, right? Like more binding contracts. Can you get there? Does it need a CBA and whatnot? I think all of this stuff has a lot of legalese and probably years off. I will say this, Jake. I don't know how many players would end up agreeing to this, given how much power you'll have if you don't agree to something like this. But it's very interesting how Tennessee locked up Iamaleava, where basically I don't know how legal this is or how exactly they pulled this off, but like they own his rights. Where even if he were to leave, I think any deals that he struck would actually go back to Tennessee. As he was paid up front by the organization itself. So, like, that's one way of basically slapping the golden handcuffs on someone if you want to.
Yeah, and it's a risk for you as well, because what if he wasn't good?
Yeah, what if he sucks? You paid him all that money up front.
You paid him all that money, and he's got it, and he's your backup quarterback. So there's risks that come with that. I think we're headed to something that protects everybody involved. I don't know that's going to happen this year, but I think in the next couple of years it's going to have, an umbrella policy. It's going to help shore a lot of these things up.
Hashtag OTB Mailbag. What would Joey Hester do if presented with a 20% large party fee on his bill?
I don't even want to say. I don't even want to say.
Was he a 20% tipper?
I mean, I don't know that he was or wasn't, but like if he was forced to do something, that's one thing my father does not like. He doesn't like somebody telling him what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So he probably would have wrote a sweet nothing in the line where it said additional tip.
Don't take away my agency. I'm just a raw 20% tipper no matter what. You would have to like actively cut my arm with a knife, I think, to get under 20%. Shout out to everyone, I guess, who's really doing the math and be like, you know what? I feel like that was a 12% meal. I feel like Taylor does that. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. Is that true? True or false?
False. I'm typically 15, 20, somewhere in there. I mean, I don't
15,
like.
10.
Do I get out my
sometimes
15,
12,
20?
What I'm saying is,
well.
do I get out my phone and literally add up 20%? Nah, just eyeball it most of the time.
Well, I mean, that's not hard. 10% is the easiest number to figure of anything.
That's what I'm saying. So I just usually
move
go a little
the
bit,
decimal place
little
over
bit
and
higher
multiply
than,
by 2. Yeah, that's fair. I mean more of like you being like, you know what? I didn't think that service is that good. I'm going to go 15.
Oh, yeah. I've done that before.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Okay. Jesus. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. Are Pogs still the best? Yeah, for sure. I used to love them growing up. We used to have a lot of Pogs that I would collect. The slammers. Those thick, heavy slammers are always the best pieces. Where does the studio think LSU will rank defensively this season? I have no idea, to be honest.
Like in the NCAA and the SEC? Like
maybe the NCAA. Like, what was the thing last year? What is it? What is it? The rate at which you stop a team from? Is it stop rate?
Yeah.
Win rate or stop rate?
No, stop rate.
Yeah.
Where, like, when they touch the ball, what's the percentage of drives that end in points versus end in a punt or a turnover? Last year, LSU was basically at the bottom of the country. I think if you could get to like 60, maybe even top 50 this year, that'd be solid.
LSU in 2019 was 33rd in total defense. I don't think they get to that number, but if they can be 40th, I think how much of an improvement going from 106 to 40 would be.
Yeah, it'd be massive. It'd be massive. But again, I don't really have any idea of knowing what they're going to be. They have so many question marks, so much turnover. I don't know. There's a lot of variance there. It could go either way. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. How much improvement do you expect to... Oh, wait, here we go. How much improvement do you expect to see by the LSU defense? Less than 500 yards per game or more than 500? It better be less.
It better be less.
I mean, where would less than 500 have put you last year?
Not much higher, right? I mean, probably 90.
I'm saying, like, I'm wondering, like, where do teams start giving up 500 in the national ranking?
Nobody gave up more than the North Texas was 130th, and they gave up 476 yards per game.
Okay, so nobody gave up.
LSU gave up 415 last year, or 416 last year.
So it needs to be under 400.
Yeah. Under 400 would put them in the 80s or 90s.
What if you were under 350?
UMass gave up 427. They were actually 133rd.
350 would be 40th. Mississippi State gave up 350.
So there you go. That'd be kind of the goal. Could you be 350? Yeah, T-Bob, we allowed points in nearly 60% of drives last year. I mean, that's the stat that freaks me out more than anyone. That's got to get fixed. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. What's the most awkward you've ever felt in public? I mean, I'm sure I've had more awkward moments, but one of the things that I hate most in this life is doing like an auction when everybody's just talking and nobody's bidding, and maybe even the people whose items you're selling are right there and like nobody's bidding or they're asking. It's just It's like I imagine it's what it feels like to bomb on stage at a
doing stand up or something.
Doing stand up, I just start sweating immediately. I absolutely hate it.
I would say the place that I feel the most awkward is when I get caught doing a radio interview on a plane, and it's happened 4 times in my life.
Ooh, the worst.
Where I've agreed to do it. We're in this business, and so the thing, if you ever want to really make me mad, agree to come on the radio and then not answer or, just last minute cancel. That can really get me mad. Like you're blacklisted for maybe life, and so I always want to do it. God, it's been some awkward times of just random family sitting across from you, and you're talking about Tennessee's quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
That sounds really. I don't think I've ever done that. Not in the plane. Maybe an airport terminal.
Dude, it's happened to me 4 times. You agree to do it. You think you're going to land at a certain time. You get delayed, whatever. And then it pops up, Knoxville area code. And you're like, oh,
disgusting. God. Nookie says, you don't do a bad server a favor by tipping for poor service. Help them get to their next career sooner rather than later. I'll let other people help push them out the door. Anyway. That's OTB Mailbag. When we get back, let's wrap up hour 2. We're going to kick off hour 3 talking to Ross Jackson. I still want to talk. I got some Alvin Kamara segment we could do. I got a Cam Jordan segment we could do. There's a lot to get to. We still got our Tay-Tay NFL story of the day. Pelicans sign a center. We got stoppage time. We got a lot to get to the final segment in an hour. So keep it locked right here, youtube.com/1045 ESPN.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Allstar Toyota Baton Rouge, AllstarToyotaBatonRouge.com. The read so nice, we do it twice. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, maybe you want a Toyota certified used vehicle, maybe you need your vehicle worked on, a little service. You get in an accident, you need a little body shop. Well, at Allstar Toyota, they're your one-stop shop for all of this and more. Remember, all makes and models welcome at the service center. Does not have to be Toyota, does not have to be from Allstar. So bring in today, get a free professional estimate, insurance claims welcome, factory parts right there on site, rental cars on site, shuttle service to drop you off, pick you back up on site. They're the best place to go, Allstar Toyota Baton Rouge.
They are, and when you're looking for a new vehicle, they are truly the best place to go because they've got something for everyone, every lifestyle. Whatever needs you have, you're going to be met over at Allstar because multiple midsize SUVs, full-size SUV, Sienna van, multiple trucks, multiple hybrids, so many different options for you, for your family, whatever your needs are. Again, they will be met over at Allstar Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Performing is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luber for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
The Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas, and we do first class, second class, no class. Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson's 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, let's hit on a few things that I don't think need a lot of exposition. The Pelicans add Daniel Theis. Is it Theis? Theis? Daniel Theis, a 32-year-old center that was with the Clippers last year.
Plays for Germany. They crushed the U.S. in the World Cup last year.
Oh, okay. I did not realize plays for Germany. But, I mean, look, statistically, a solid depth piece. Average 6 and 4 last year for LA. For his career, 33% three-point shooter, an attempt and a half per game. This is not the answer to your rim-protecting problems. But, again, you lost Larry Nance and Jonas Valanciunas, meaning that you have a couple of guys to replace. And, yes, you draft Messi and everything, but again, he's going to take a while if he ever does actually end up being a valid NBA player. So a depth piece yesterday, but still an Ingram trade for a bigger name probably has to happen and in the works. Livy Dunn is back for next year. And I want to say this. I've seen a lot of people kind of crapping on this and like, oh, who cares? She's a backup or whatnot. Livy Dunn's entered a weird space where, yes, without a doubt, her overwhelming fame has a lot of value to LSU, and that is the kind of the biggest thing about her. But it's gone too far that direction, Jake, where I think we've lost sight of how good of a gymnast Livy Dunn actually is. I was there at Arkansas the night when she damn near, or was it Arkansas? I mean, one of the meets I went to this year, damn near had a perfect 10 on her floor routine. Like, When she did get her opportunities this season, she was very good. She's a quality depth piece on this team, and it takes a team to win a national championship. And basically, they got pretty much the whole team running it back. So LSU Gymnastics looking damn strong next year. And then finally, a great day to be Cooper Flagg, as the cat's only 17 years old. He's he'll be in college next year. Is he going to Duke, right?
That's correct.
Kentucky, yeah. Going to Duke next season. Then he'll almost assuredly be the number one pick in the NBA draft. He battled the U.S. men's national team as a member of the select team, which is like chose to practice with them, kind of get them ready. And apparently, Jake, at 17 years old, he balled out. We're talking, he hit a three in Anthony Davis's face. He hit like a step back or fadeaway shot in Drew Holiday's face. And the select team barely lost to the U.S. men's national team 74-73.
Yeah, we were talking about it during one of the breaks. Trey Murphy on this squad, Langston Galloway from Baton Rouge on this squad. And so it's got some good players, but certainly the main USA team has got what'd you say, 10 Hall of Famers.
Steve Kerr says 12 or 13 future Hall of Famers. Can you imagine being 17 years old and all of a sudden you're playing against Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, whoever?
No, I was a junior in high school at 17 years old, so no.
No, not at all. Shout out Cooper Flagg. That's kind of unbelievable.
And
shout
then
out Libby
doing
Dunn.
well, by the way.
Shout out Libby Dunn as well. Shout out Daniel Tice, I suppose. I don't know. It's fine. Couple roster spots left to be filled. Hour 3 coming up next.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Rejuvame Medical. Restore me, refuel me, Rejuvame. You want to rejuvenate yourself, capture that youthful, energetic feeling that you used to have. Well, Rejuvame Medical, they can help you do that. But it's the plan that's customized to you, okay? So if you live in Baton Rouge, Metairie, Slidell, now Monroe as well, go in for a free consultation. And they're going to draw your labs. Going to tell them where your body's strong, where it needs help. And they're going to customize a plan for you with choosing from a ton of different treatments. Could be something as simple as B vitamin shots. Maybe it's full-on hormone replacement therapy. The bottom line is they're going to get you to where you want to be and fight the effects of untreated aging. RejuveMeMedical.com.
Go to the website today and schedule your consultation. Top right corner of the website. Now, throughout Louisiana, also in Mississippi, go visit the site today to get that set up. RejuveMeMedical.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. here on Tuesday, July 9th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect rainy skies with a high of 93. In hour 3 of today's show, Ross Jackson hops on the show at 9 a.m. and we'll be heavy New Orleans Saints this last hour. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch it in the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to OTB. It is hour number 3, and we are kicking it off with good friend of the show, Mr. Ross Jackson. You can catch him on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola, of course, host of Locked On Saints. Also, over all of Locked On, doing a lot of great work bringing your favorite team's favorite shows. Ross, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you. Hope y'all are doing well.
All right, let's get into I got a couple questions here. Now, these are segments that I wanted to kind of prep this interview with by talking about. Unfortunately, we just haven't gotten quite to it yet today. But one of them had to do with the expectation level surrounding Cam Jordan this year. And there was a really good article in The Advocate about this, where they basically look at, okay, what are, to try to range find, what are some expectations? He's averaged 9 sacks a year his entire career. However, he's over 35. There's only a few instances of players over 35 beating that 9-sack number, and it hasn't been done since 2017. What are your expectations for Cam Jordan and kind of the role that he'll play statistically on this team this fall?
Yeah, I think when it comes to sacks, 9 sacks isn't my number. My number for him is getting back to that 7.5 kind of spot. I mean, he had a very long streak, basically from his second year, 2012, all the way through 2022, where he had achieved at least 7.5 sacks every single one of those, one of the longest streaks that we had seen. I believe at the time it was the longest active streak until 2023. And so for me, it's about getting back to that area. And then beyond that, because the game of Cam Jordan, the game of a defensive end in the NFL goes far beyond just the sack numbers. It's also about what he does in the run game, his ability to get into the backfield and make stops in the backfield. Remember, this is a guy that a few years ago was a triple-double guy, double-digit sacks, double-digit tackles for a loss, and double-digit passes defended or batted balls at the line. I think seeing him get back to double digits when it comes to tackles for a loss in the backfield, things like that, are just as valuable as him getting the double digits when it comes to sacks. Now that the Saints have a burgeoning guy in Carl Granderson and then have now added Chase Young, Cam Jordan doesn't have to be a hero when it comes to what he does out there. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he sees the lowest percentage of defensive snaps that he's played in his career during this season because of what the team is going to be able to do and the talent that they have to rotate in. So my expectations when it comes to Cam Jordan is to simply contribute to the defense and simply contribute to wins. If we want to put numbers to that, then I think it's over that 7.5 sacks mark again, and then maybe hopefully see him back into the double digits when it comes to tackles for a loss. But he's not the only guy on that defensive line anymore, and he doesn't have to do it all on his own, which I think might actually boost his efficiency a bit in terms of his ability to stay fresh and be rotated a bit more than he has in the past.
Ross, how do you feel about the edge rushers on the Saints roster? We're talking about Cam Jordan. You look at others, Granderson had a nice year, but Chase Young, we don't really know what he's going to be like after injury.
Yep.
Isaiah Foskey's been disappointing as a second-round pick. Like, where are you at right now with this edge rusher group heading into training camp?
Yeah, I think it's an edge rusher group that has a lot of potential, but that's about the most that you can say as of July 9th at this time. Yeah. I would say that Carl Granderson is the guy that I think should be the one that is kind of looked at as the premier edge defender for this team. 8.5 sacks last year, got into the backfield at 14 tackles for a loss, also put 20 hits on the quarterback. So he produces quite a bit, just needs to step up the pressure percentages. We spoke to him during, I believe it was minicamp. It was either minicamp or OTAs, where he discussed a bit about how he got off to a really fast start and then kind of hit a wall mid-season before he picked it back up. And so now he's doing a lot of work this offseason to make sure that he doesn't hit that wall. If he doesn't do that, then he could be a double-digit sack guy, back to being double digits in tackles for a loss, all that. I think that he could be the one that kind of paces this defensive line. That way the rest of the line, when it comes to the edge rushers, just kind of figure out what their roles are and how they can contribute. It's going to be really interesting to see how Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey take steps forward, especially with Tano Passanio out to begin the season with that Achilles injury that he suffered over the course of the offseason. It's going to open up some more opportunities for those younger guys. It's a big year for Peyton Turner, who's in a contract year, no fifth-year option picked up. It's his opportunity here to prove that he deserves another contract, whether with New Orleans or with another team.
I mean, I forgot about Peyton Turner. I'm going to be real honest, Ross. I mean, I'm going through edge rushers, and, he is so out of sight, out of mind that you kind of forget about him. He's got to show something.
His maximum snaps played so far in his career are 170 on defense. It's easy to forget when a guy can't stay on the field for more than 200 snaps. And look, some of it's out of his control, some of it's injury related, all those other things, sure. But I think that he, just as much as anybody else wants to see it, he wants to prove that he can be out on the field and get an opportunity to be able to contribute. That opportunity is going to be there for him in terms of the opportunity of snaps that are going to be available. But is he going to be able to make the most of it? Is he going to be able to stay on the field? Those are the big time question marks he'll have to answer.
Last one, kind of at that the position group. What's the latest on Chase Young? I feel like we haven't had any updates in a while in terms of how he's trending.
Yeah, so far, so good in terms of where everything's headed. It seems that everything's gone well in terms of the expectation of that next procedure. He spoke to media during OTAs and minicamp, said that he was on track. The expectation is that he might actually be available during training camp. I would expect that to be a very long ramp-up period throughout training camp. No reason to rush this. You know who Chase Young is as a commodity and what he can bring. So I wouldn't expect to see him maybe get too much preseason action. Wouldn't expect him to get maybe too much training camp action early, but look, maybe he pushes and then ends up finding his way back out on the field earlier rather than later. But the expectation is that was always that he would be ready to go week one. It seems like it's trending in that direction still at this time.
Talking to Ross Jackson, host of the Locked On Saints podcast. And Jake, anything on the defense before we flip it over to the offense?
I was going to ask real quick. Jordan Howden, 5th-round pick last year, played way above that. He makes it easier for you to let go of Marcus May. Now, Marcus May wasn't the player maybe you thought he was bringing in, but Jordan Howden makes that an easier decision in the offseason. Where do you see him this year fitting in on the defense? Because you start to look at some of the defensive backs they have, in sub packages. Do you still expect him to stay on the field?
Yeah, I do. And I expect that he'll probably compete a little bit with Jonathan Abram during training camp to start next to Tyrann Mathieu. Look, everybody that I've talked to within the building loves loves Jordan Howden. They love Jonathan Abram as well. And they love getting both those guys out on the field. So they're going to find ways to make sure that both of them and Tyrann Mathieu are out on the field. Jordan Howden did a lot of dime package safety work last year. I could see that being the case again here in 2024. They love what he does in particular as a post safety, kind of a deep safety, kind of what Tyrann Mathieu does for this team right now. But my understanding is that he's going to get more opportunities over the course of training camp to maybe take some shots in the box and see what he's able to do and how he's able to produce there. He did have to play that role a bit in place of Marcus May last year, who was dealing with injury, suspension, the litany of things that kept Marcus May off the field for the last 2 years. Jordan Howden stepped into that role last season, but I think they like him a little bit more further away from the line of scrimmage as a deep take the ball away type of safety. So we'll see if he's able to maybe develop that area of his game, playing down in the box. He certainly has the build for it. He's a big type safety who can tackle and who's pretty set when it comes to being a safe tackling option. So we'll see. I think that he has a lot of opportunity ahead of him. It might not hit in 2024. It might be more post Tyrann Mathieu days, but in any case, he's a talented player, and the folks within the organization and the folks within the building absolutely love what he brings to the game. He was limited a little bit over the course of the offseason so far with an offseason procedure, but it looks like that's going to be cleared up in time for him to get some opportunities to compete during training camp.
Ross, so I said that I would castrate myself live on air if Derek Carr doesn't finish as a top 12 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, all right.
It's obviously the riskiest bet that I've ever made. That said, I do, like, when I look at this Saints team, it all comes down to the offensive line. There's a world where maybe this line is good and everything looks good because you can be good for years, right? I mean, there's a ton of investment. It's all first and second round picks, save for Saldivari. However, it was a PFF the other day comes out with their list ranking all O-lines, and the New Orleans Saints are dead last, 32 of 32. So it goes beyond Derek Carr. Is it too simple to say that this New Orleans Saints team goes as the O-line goes? Because that's how I feel.
No, not at all. I don't think that's too simple at all. I think that's absolutely the case. It's interesting walking into a season and looking at a football team and going, man, the two biggest question marks feel like the offensive line and the defensive line. That's not typically where NFL teams want to be. But to the Saints, to the credit of that conversation, the reason why the offensive line is a question mark is because they're relying on young players to push their improvement.
Yeah.
And that's just tough to project. That's all that really is. It's just challenging to project. Like you said, there's a world in which this offensive line is fantastic, but we have to see players we haven't seen perform in the NFL, either because they're rookies or second year guys, or Trevor Penning's moving from one side of the line to the other. So I do think that it's not too simple. In fact, it's simple enough to say that, yes, this offense goes by the way of its offensive line, not only because of the protection for Derek Carr, but this wide zone offense also wants to be able to predicate what it does by running the football. So they have to be able to produce in that area too. So I think you're right there. I don't think that it's too simple to say that. I think it's just simple enough.
What about the tight end position? A position where you have an injury to Juwan Johnson. Obviously, Foster Moreau is going to be there as well. Taysom Hill kind of looks like he's maybe going to be in the backfield as much as he is at tight end. Like, where are you at right now? You brought in a very talented undrafted free agent rookie. He led the tight ends across the country in college football last year in yards. Like, where are you at right now with that position group?
Yeah, I should say too, real quick for T-Bob, just to kind of like bring your anxiety down. I think you're going to be fine. Yeah. I think you're going to be fine when it comes to Derek Carr, top 12.
Thank you.
I think you're going to be okay.
Talking about.
You should put a caveat. You should caveat injury just to protect yourself.
I did an injury caveat.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
good.
we're if he misses, I think it's like more than 4 or 5 games, and it doesn't count. But
good.
Yeah, here's to hoping, man. I'd really rather not cut my nuts off for like a 7-10 Saints team, but hey, you got to take big swings.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the tight ends, not to shift to the other body part here, but as we look at tight ends, I think that the thing that I look at with this is that it's a bit of a frustrating group right now, and I think that the frustration comes from the high expectations and then kind of the derailment of bridging the gap from 2023 to 2024. And I think Juwan Johnson is probably very frustrated having to deal with this injury himself. He had 3 of his 4 touchdowns last year, more than 200 of his his more than 300 receiving yards last year all came in the last the last 4 games of the season last year. And so you're hoping that he's going to be able to bridge the gap with that momentum that he started to pick up at the end of 2023 and then go into 2024. Now you have this injury. So you're hoping is that the injury isn't enough of a hiccup that it causes, kind of a drop off in that momentum. So that's going to be pretty big for him. Again, the expectation for him as well is that he'll be ready to go at the beginning of the season. We'll see where things go there. I don't have any big updates when it comes to Juwan Johnson at this moment. But the rest of that tight end group obviously has a lot of talent. Foster Moreau looks bigger, bulkier. He looks like he's ready to go for this season. Dallin Holker's really interesting and can move around all over the place. And I think Taysom Hill contributes to that position group. They've got a phenomenal tight end coach in Clancy Barone there as well, who's coached multiple Hall of Famers throughout his time. So I think that you have everything that you want in that room. The biggest thing is, can it stay healthy? And especially in this wide zone offense, you're going to see a lot of those 2 wide receiver sets, which means a lot of those 2 tight end sets as well. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those tight ends on the field. Got to be able to block, got to be able to move, got to be able to run routes, got to be able to catch the football in those cases. And a lot of those guys check those boxes, including undrafted free agent Dallin Holker, who I'm super excited to see a little bit more of in training camp.
Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, host of the Locked On Saints podcast, does a ton of great work across all Locked On networks. A huge thank you. As you can see, Ross knows everything top to bottom when it comes to New Orleans Saints. You should listen to the pod. Ross, thank you. Thank you so much for making some time for us for coming on the show today.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks so much for having me. Y'all take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Ross.
See you soon. Training camp right around the corner for your New Orleans Saints. I mean, hey, nuts feeling pretty good, boys. Ross is in my corner. I think we Gucci, man. All right, when we get back, I feel great. I feel very good about this deal. At least I hope so. Kind of, somewhat. I'm a little nervous. Pretty nervous. I'm actually very nervous, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, when we get back, I want to talk top 10 running backs in the NFL. Who's there? Who's not there? Let's see if Jake thinks it's right. This is a correct list or not. This is a list put together by NFL executives, coaches, scouts. I don't believe players, but so executive coaches and scouts. And we'll break it down next here on OTB.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
If you're a business owner, okay, and you have waste management needs, here at Trash Rangers, we understand that no company's 2 needs are the same, right? And we're local. We flexible. We're here to serve and help you. I don't care where you are in the listening area. You need fixed placement front load dumpsters. You need reliable dumping schedules 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 times a week. I want you to call Trash Rangers at 225-363-9053, 225-363-9053, and get started with your #1 trash solution.
You can also go to their website, trashrangersllc.com, and you can sign up there, but you can also see what they can do for you as far as roll-off dumpsters, because that's throughout the Baton Rouge area, right? If you've got renovation going on at your home or business, multiple size dumpsters, they have 3 different sizes to fit your needs. Go find that information at trashrangersllc.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
Join me for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Pluckers. Glenn West talking Tigers, Sharif Ishaq on the Saints and Pels, and might get an update on Alec Box Stadium construction. Where is that headed? Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
He's coming out, 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 he's coming out. It's there.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back, OTB. All right, let's talk more NCAA 25 talks on snaps today, Scott Dice. EA is dropping something every day this week on NCAA, so yeah, we'll touch on it. Yesterday was a 21-minute gameplay trailer. It was
21 minutes.
Yeah, they had
basically a whole game.
Yeah, I mean it was 2 games very edited and cut down to show the features, but they had Donovan Edwards versus this guy Bordeaux, who's a big NCAA content creator, still playing like NCAA 14 out there. Does really good work, actually. Donovan Edwards whooped that ass, dude. Whooped his ass. And it's funny because you could see like the actual football knowledge of Donovan Edwards being the reason why he won. Like the running, like the blocking, like how Edwards was reading it. It was pretty kind of... I came away very impressed with the animations, the speed of it. I thought it looked cool. Max says the Bordeaux dude is ass. Yeah, I mean, well, yes, he did look very bad.
He's not known for his ability in the game. He's known more so for like his content.
Well, and yeah, doesn't he also do like more like
he does like the dynasties and stuff?
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
Not, he's not like a pro or anything.
No. He's not a super competitive gamer. But so we will talk that. I actually just got the text. We're gonna have Dan Lanning on at noon on Snap. So if you want to check that out as I confront Dan about, just back off a little bit, bro. You can listen at youtube.com/@SnapCFB. All right. Also listen off campus, Sirius XM 84, 2 to 5 every afternoon. Who do you got on today? Like co-host wise?
I don't even know.
Oh, okay. There you go. surprise guest co-host.
You know,
maybe
when
it's
I
Bobby
find out,
Carpenter, maybe not.
Typically, like when Dennis sends out the rundown.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It feels like Bobby. It feels like a Bobby Tuesday.
What time is that?
Actually, you know what?
What?
Now that you say that, we don't have a show today.
Oh, really?
Because Big 12 Media Day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Things
we're
are looking
airing-
up, dude.
we're
That
airing all
means
Big
you
12
get
Media
a
Day.
fully uninterrupted Euro semifinal.
Yeah, I do.
You get to watch Spain, France with nobody bugging you.
Yeah.
No shows, no work.
No
Hell
shows
yeah,
today
dude.
or tomorrow.
You know what, then? Let's just go ahead and throw in a little stoppage time right now on OTB.
Club and Country. And just about 90 seconds. This is stoppage time on Off the Bench.
All right, as T-Bob mentioned, you do have Spain and France today. That is going to be one of the semifinals. Of course, the other semifinal will be tomorrow between Netherlands and England. I think I chose Netherlands pre-tournament. Who'd you go with?
I don't know. I mean,
Who'd you go?
No, rooting
Alondra went
interest.
Spain.
Did I end up back at Belgium?
I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure.
Taylor went like Slovakia or
I
Slovenia.
mean, look, I can always go
No,
France.
you went.
Sure.
What was the gritty team that Jake mentioned?
Belgium?
No.
Gritty team for T-Bob?
Yeah, probably like Georgia.
Hey, actually,
SEC
I mean,
championships.
You know, they made it pretty far. Over in Copa America tonight, you've got Argentina and Canada from New Jersey. So big opportunity for Jesse March, the USMNT veteran that's now coaching Canada, to go have a big upset win. Speaking of the USMNT, yesterday they held a meeting with Greg Berhalter to discuss his future as the coach of the national team. Hopefully it ends with him no longer having a job.
So no news on whether or not they've decided to halt his career then?
Yep.
I'm very excited for a little afternoon France-Spain Euro action.
Can France score a goal from open play?
I know. That's
crazy. They're in the semifinals of the Euros, and they have not scored a goal.
And they have
from
the
open play.
best striker in the world.
Yeah, again, the article I read on ESPN yesterday was positing that this was a battle for the soul of soccer. Spain's
saw that
fun
too,
and
yeah.
freewheeling style versus France's conservative, no risk, just kind of boring play they've been putting forward. But I mean, look, maybe there's something to be said for boring.
They
I mean,
made it.
England's been kind of in the same boat, haven't they? I've
Pretty
seen
much.
a ton of memes on Instagram from England fans making fun of like Gareth Southgate and not passing ball forward, and yet here they sit in the semis. So we'll see how it ends. But starting up today, great day, couple of semifinals here on this Tuesday.
I actually give Canada a decent chance just because Argentina did not play well. They played Ecuador in the quarterfinals, and they had to go to penalties.
Yeah.
Messi missed his penalty. He didn't play well the whole game. Apparently, he's dealing with an injury. And in the Copas, you go straight to penalties after 90 minutes. There's no extra time. So Canada has, if they can pack
They won
it in
PKs, last round.
If they can pack it in, defend, and not give up a goal, they can get to penalties and have a chance. And
right.
beat Argentina, and that way. And if that happens, if Canada makes it to the Copa America final, the U.S. has to fire Greg Berhalter because they could have hired Jesse Marsh instead of Greg Berhalter, and they didn't do it. So it just makes it look even worse if they make it.
I mean, it feels like, if nothing else, just for the vibes, outside looking in, as someone who doesn't have a ton of skin in the game, you should just, I mean, you got the World Cup coming to North America. You need a splash. Just drop your nuts, fire Berhalter, and give Klopp all the money.
Yes,
all of it.
They should.
Like that just it just feel like, and even if it fails, like at least then the fans can't complain about you being passive or not trying or the definition of insanity or anything along those lines.
That's always a complaint is that they're always conservative with who they hire. After they hired Jurgen Klinsmann, who was a little bit, they usually hired American coaches. They hired him, and they made it to the World Cup in 2014, but then obviously didn't qualify in 2018. And then after that, they decided they were just going to be very conservative with their hires, and they have been. So they've got to go out and make a change here.
I like to win. It felt like for a while there they just kept rehiring Bruce Arena and Bob Bradley.
Yeah, Bruce Arena has I think he's had at least 2 stints. But I don't know if 3. Maybe
Give him
3.
a third. Whatever. All right. Wait, actually, real quick, I do want to remind you guys, as I do every day, about our friends at AccuTemp. AccuTemp Baton Rouge, AccuTempBR.com. So apparently we had inclement weather last night. I feel lucky in that I didn't know. I think my area made it through, but I've heard some people losing power. Well, guess what? You never have to worry about losing power again if you get that whole home generator from AccuTemp. You get in touch with them today. They'll come out to your home, give you a free professional estimate, a rundown of everything that would work. And then, like I said, if you're an outdoorsman, your meats or your family, whatever it is protected. But it's not just outdoor generators. Again, any AC, heating, or electrical needs, you want to take advantage of service to the highest degree. You want AccuTemp. You can schedule online. You can call them. But again, it is the customer service that separates them more than anything. They are unparalleled in that regard. So check out the website, AccuTempBR.com, AccuTempBR.com. Why is Aaron asking me if I'm on drugs? I don't know. All right. Let's do, we'll get to the running backs with Jake next. Real quick, Tay, give me an NFL story of the day.
It's time for Tay-Tay's NFL Story of the Day, your daily dose of NFL news from Taylor Sharp.
Yeah, so Cam Sutton, he signed a one-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the offseason to go back there after being released by the Detroit Lions. Reason he was released? Well, he's been suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. This goes back to March 31st. He had to turn himself in for misdemeanor battery after apparently beating up a woman in an apartment complex out in Florida. He fled the scene, then turned himself in. He was actually in the midst of year 1 of a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Detroit Lions. Played actually pretty good last year. Started every game, had an interception, 55 tackles. And the Steelers, despite him being released for this, decided they were going to sign him anyways. And yesterday it was announced that he was suspended for 8 games this season. And then, look, he was asked, what his message to fans who question those actions of his. And he said, my job is not to appeal to someone else. He said, I know the type of guy I am. I don't really care what people think of me. And, well, they're not going to think much of him for the first 8 games of the year because he ain't going to be playing.
By the way, Lanning's not live on Snaps today. We have had him on in the past, but it was miscommunication.
Wait.
Aaron's such an idiot.
How did Aaron mess this up?
He didn't mess it up, but like he said, he texted me Dan Lanning today. I said live with a question mark, and he said yes at 1 p.m. So I'm like, oh, okay, awesome, right? And then I said, F yeah, good job. And he's like, are you on drugs? I said, what do you mean? And I said, I'm getting Lanning, dummy. And he said, no, not him live. I just meant we're discussing him.
No, Aaron,
what?
Aaron, that's on
I literally said live, and you were
Yeah.
like, yes, 1 p.m. Eastern. Taylor, you had 2 stories yesterday, right? Give me one that doesn't involve crime, domestic abuse, or a tragic death.
Okay. What do we know about David Tepper?
He likes to throw drinks.
He's kind of a joke.
He's a man of patience. He has said so himself.
Yes, he has said so.
In an unsurprising move, just 1 year after hiring former NFL Pro Bowler Adrian Wilson as the vice president of player personnel, yesterday David Tepper decided to fire Adrian Wilson as vice president of player personnel. He said that, look, we're consistent with our organization of policies on employee matters. I will no longer comment on this. We just decided that we needed to make a change and move into a different direction. Look, this makes a number of hires that David Tepper has pulled the trigger on after 1 season. A man of patience, not patient when it comes to the Carolina Panthers.
But he is consistent.
Yeah. He's a model of consistency.
It's not just the Panthers, though. He also fired the MLS coach like a year after they made the playoff as an expansion team or something, right? Like,
correct.
Yeah.
Like he's a madman.
And he likes to walk into restaurants and take hats off of guys.
He has, but never forget, he does have in his office like a giant plaque apparently with just giant brass balls on it.
He does.
Just because of course he does.
Under Tepper's watch.
You must have bet on Derek Carr too.
This is just head coaches. They fired 3 different head coaches. He's on his 4th head coach since he's been owner of the team. They're 31-68 and have not qualified for the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. He must have bet on Derek Carr because it takes brass balls to do so.
Yeah, but they're also off his body, and
that's
now
something
they're
that me
in
and
bronze.
David Tepper. That's something that me and David Tepper haven't got.
Are you going to put yours on a plaque?
Yeah, that's the ultimate flex. You get your nuts cut off, and then those are the balls that you put on display in your office. That's what you'll do if you're a real one, Tepper.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for Aaron. Text me. I was wondering why you said live. God, see what I have to deal with. This guy.
Yeah, that's on Aaron. I'll give you that one.
Here I am.
I'm not sure what he
that's
thought.
Not happening. Oh well. And I thought it was real because we've had Landon on before.
I'm sure he knows him from Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. He's super chill. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he talked about his tattoos.
I did ask him about his tattoo, which his wife's pretty hot. It's just that weird thing because then
that
you
just totally transitioned right into that perfectly.
Well, I mean, what other tattoo?
Wife is tattooed on him.
Okay.
Find me another major college football coach with his wife's cleavage specifically very prominently tattooed.
It is, man.
And it's just one of those funny things where you look at like, ooh, it's pretty hot, and then you realize you're just looking at Dan Lanning's love handle. Like, oh, wow. It's like that episode of Family Guy. Do you like that side boob? Well, you shouldn't. That's my side boob. And it zooms out and it's Peter's. Anyway, ow, my shoulder. Coming up next. What? Here on OTB. Top 10 running backs in the NFL as voted on by executives, coaches, and scouts. Does Jake agree or disagree? We'll get to it next.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Pinnacle Exterior Construction, PECbuilt.com is the website, PECbuilt.com. You need any outdoor living construction, okay? Like an outdoor living area to chill in. You need turf in the grass. You want turf? You want a full outdoor kitchen. You need any size or type of fence. You need bulkheads. You need pergolas. You need it. It's all at PECbuilt.com. That's Pinnacle Exterior Construction. If you want a fully customized pool, maybe you want a spec pool, either way, the best prices, the best rate at which the project gets done, the most quality work as well. What about pool maintenance? You need to get your pool ready for the summer. You've been ignoring it. Maybe you want it year-round maintenance, so it's always ready to go. We do that as well. Again, it's all at PECbuilt.com.
Go to the website today to see what they can do for you. And T-Bob laid out a couple of things. And look, if you're looking for an artificial turf space in your yard, they can also do that for you. Find that information on their website along with everything else they can do, PECbuilt.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Shay Dixon talks about a big recruiting weekend, and LSU commit Zion Williams stops by 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Allstar Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Yo, welcome back, OTB. All right, Jake, so ESPN is doing a series. I believe they're releasing D tackles today. They started it yesterday with running back, but they are doing a series where they are interviewing they have a bunch of people that are, it's like over 80-something entrants, but it's scouts, executives, coaches to rank the top 10 players at 11 different positions. Everybody turns in their ballot, and the numbers are put together. Let's go down and let's see if you agree or not. Number one in the league, who do you think?
I'm going to say Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, CMC, of course, right? He's number one in everything. I thought this was a bit surprising. Number two, Breece Hall. Already checking in as the second best running back in the entire NFL.
Really good player. Can do a lot of different things. I don't know that I'd have him second, though.
Would you have Nick Chubb second? Because they have Nick Chubb third, which here's a crazy stat. Since entering the NFL, his career average is 5.3 yards per carry. That is only behind Bo Jackson and Jamal Charles in the Super Bowl era. Chubb, I mean, that's pretty incredible. I didn't realize he was that good.
Yeah, I'd have him probably high up there and probably at number two. He's been in offenses where everyone in the stadium knew he was getting the ball, and it doesn't really matter.
Also, side note on Breece Hall, Iowa State should have been better. Come on.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, you had Brock Purdy and Breece Hall at the same time, coming back after a great year, and they weren't that good.
Well, and then right before Breece Hall, David Montgomery was there.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. They got Saquon Barkley at 4.
No.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit interesting. Obviously, they think that he wasn't the problem, that the Giants were the problem. The people who voted. We'll see if that's true or not. Jonathan Taylor at 5. After, he had all the drama last year, but then he finishes very strong over the last few games. I could see Taylor at 5.
Yeah, I could see him at 5. I mean, he's a really good runner. He's got a skill set in the gap scheme that's as good as anybody in the NFL.
They got Bijan Robinson at 6, which I thought this was interesting. Actually led the league in yards per carry against boxes of 7 or more. Averaged 5.2. A bit niche, but 35 explosive plays, which is third for running backs. I mean, the bottom line is he didn't get the volume of touches, but when he did touch it, he was very damn good.
Well, it makes sense, too, because Daniel Jones stinks, and no one cares about whether or not he can throw the ball.
Well, this isn't Saquon, though. This is we're talking about Bijan Robinson here.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think many people respect the quarterback, Ritter.
No,
as well.
Ritter. No, exactly. No, exactly, right? That's why Saquon ranks high, and Bijan ranks this high, I think, because of what people think he can be this year with a new OC and maybe being better taken advantage of. I'd be worried if I was a Saints fan. Josh Jacobs at 7. Looking for a bounce back there.
Yeah, really good player. I think you're looking for 2 years of it back-to-back. for him.
Yeah, I think I'm fat. Like a lot of the running backs on this list fall into this idea of, well, what will this new setting do for them? But probably nobody has had a bigger upgrade than going from the Oakland Raiders to the Green Bay Packers. Right? I mean, we could ask Matt Flynn, who did the opposite, you're going from the worst to maybe the most well-run franchise in the entire NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs at 8. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's climbing. I mean, what he can do in both the run and pass game, like next year on this list, he'll be top 5.
They've all got fun little stats about him. Jahmyr Gibbs, 5.4 yards per carry out of shotgun, which actually led the NFL. Derrick Henry's at 9. Derrick Henry's never been number 1 on this list in the 5 years they've been doing it. Maybe it was just his prime was a little bit before. But, I mean, he continues to kick ass. Again, now partnering with the Ravens offense, fast as that goes. And then Travis Etienne Jr. Coming in at number 10. Alvin Kamara gets honorable mention along with guys like Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker Jr., Pacheco, James Cook, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. Here's what they said about Kamara. Quote, Kamara's been a fixture in the top 10, ranking as high as number 2 in 2021, but Kamara's production has been less efficient in recent seasons. He's averaged 3.87 yards per carry since 2021, which is good enough for 830 yards per season. Quote, he might have hit a wall a little bit, NFL running back coach said. He's still a great all-purpose back, can run the different schemes, his burst of contact, but the production hasn't been there, though I think the new system will be really good for him. Jake, when it's all said and done, do you think Kamara takes over any of the names on that list at the end of this year?
I don't know. The only name in this list that may fall out, if you're looking at an older player, maybe Derrick Henry falls out of this list. He's at number 9 already. Running back, as we know, anytime you get to the age 30, which he is, the fall off is pretty drastic and it's pretty quick. I don't know, man. It's just Alvin Kamara behind that offensive line. Are we really like the scheme's going to be better? That's going to help them out, but it's going to be enough to get you on this list. That's going to be the question.
It's tough to think about. But again, if a more creative running scheme is going to help everyone out, it should help in terms of the production of the running game and Alvin Kamara there, which then is going to take some pressure off of your pass blocking because you'll be in more third and manageable situations. You get the ball out quicker, not having to hold on to these long individual blocks. It increases the efficacy of the play action game, which is going to lighten the load on the offensive line. And then in a symbiotic relationship, when you lighten that load, you make it better for the running backs because your line's better. So again, maybe there is hope that Clinton Kubiak can be this guy that unlocks everything. It just feels all a little too rose-colored outside looking in. There's a little too many ifs then in this equation and not enough like, well, we fully expect this. This will be the case, and so then. So, I don't think that Alvin Kamara finds his way into this top 10. I certainly hope that he does. But if he does not, then maybe we've seen the end of Alvin Kamara as a top running back in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think the last 2 years it hasn't really been anything that he could help because the offensive line and scheme have just not helped him at all. And he's had some injuries as well, but I think the scheme's going to be better. I don't think that he finally gets to 1,000 yards. I think he probably hovers around 700 or 800. But I do think the yards per carry goes up because it's not
get back
been
over 4.
good. I mean, he's averaged since 2021, like you said, 3.8 yards per carry. So that's multiple years in a row.
And here's hoping that Kubiak can once again be the panacea for all of our Saints' problems.
I can't believe A-Chain wasn't even
it's true.
Like mentioned.
Yeah. It's true, not even honorable mention.
He was
he might have been in the receiving votes category. I'll have to go double check.
I'm looking right now.
Oh wow.
No. Mostert was, but he wasn't.
All right, when we get back, let's do some Ask the Bench. Brought to you by Cold Curse Life is here. Tons of Blue Lights, guys. Stitch Sweet. Holla holla.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
CentralPlumbing.org. CentralPlumbing.org. 925-8552. 925-8552. Plummet. I was going to say plumb it yourself, but I don't know why. That was a long time ago. You should just get Central Plumbing to your plumbing, right? You don't You don't think twice. You lift up the phone. You call 925-8552. You take advantage of flat rate pricing structure. You take advantage of licensed, bonded, insured employees of great warranty once the work is done, of 50 years of experience, and your problem is solved without you lifting a finger. But it's not just problems, bathroom models, upgrades, tankless water heaters. It's all there at centralplumbing.org.
And it's not just in Central either, right? I mean, now it can be in Central, but also anywhere in the Baton Rouge area, we are talking to you. So if you've got a problem anywhere in the area, they can come, they can fix that problem 24/7, 365, 225-925-8552.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscone. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service
the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas, and we do first class, second class, no class. Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson's 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Dallas Light. What's up,
Allstar
y'all?
Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Ask the Bench. Brought to you by Cold Curse Light, Vizzy Art Seltzer, Blue Moon Light Sky, Citrus, Wheat. Ask the Bench, would you sell a kidney to watch Cincinnati versus Saints in the Super Bowl? No. That'd be tight, though. Ask the Bench. 5 years ago last week, Burrow predicted we would score 40, 50, 60 points a game, and none of us believed him. Seems shorter or longer since we exited the quarterback wasteland. Yeah, remember, that was at Manning Passing Academy when he said that.
Yeah.
I would say it does not feel like that long ago to already be now 5 years since Burrow.
Yeah.
That's a bit
No,
depressing.
it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
Ask the bench. Who do you use as your driver in Mario Kart? Mario Kart. Dry Bones. Duh.
Yoshi.
Links.
Donkey Kong.
Wait, you mean Link?
Donkey Kong. Look at y'all, freaking normie nerds.
Link and
Yoshi's
it's not like it's
he's always
Yoshi
solid.
is the most normie pick.
He's always
ever.
solid though. He's
Since
never too fast
Super
or slow.
Nintendo Mario Kart. Yoshi's always been like
No way,
he's like
dude.
the
Everybody
fast
thinks
guy.
Mario.
No. Dry Bones is the answer.
Dry Bones is good. I like him.
I love Dry Bones. I like Dry Bowser too.
Dry Bowser.
I think Dry Bones is just a funny ass name.
It is very funny.
Ask the bench. Will each of our hosts agree to taking a cognitive test and release the results? Absolutely not. I don't want y'all to know anything about my brain and its cognitive powers. Ask the bench. How surprising is it that Gail Benson was recently ranked the 17th wealthiest NFL owner, not including the value of the team? Oh, wow. Not including the value of the team?
Oh,
sheesh.
Wow.
Work out, Tommy B.
All right, now. Say fella.
A lot of cars.
A lot of cars.
Ask the bench. With the laundry out, are y'all leaving the toilet seat down without a thought? I actually
Wouldn't
don't.
it be
I
up?
don't lift the toilet seat up.
Wow. Well, that's not surprising.
No.
You don't?
Yeah, just don't pee on it.
Oh, okay.
Get
I was
impeccable
going to say,
aim.
like,
Yeah.
when you sit, you don't have to lift the toilet.
And I
So,
do sit in a pee sometimes too.
There you go.
Feels great. Should
Nice
do it
to
more
relax
often.
every now and then.
Yeah, you should try it if you don't.
Have you ever tried sitting the reverse way on a toilet?
I'm not Japanese.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
Japanese. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, when you think about it, you can rest on the
Yeah, it
the
seems
back,
great.
you know?
Yeah, nothing I like better than just laying my head down on a nice public
Porcelain
water catch on a toilet. Ask the bench favorite Kevin Smith movie. Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
Same.
Strikes
Opening
back.
scene, electric.
But shout out Clerks.
Yeah, Mallrats.
All of it.
Mallrats, right?
Ask the bench. Do you like Pogs? Who's your favorite Pog? Mia Malkova, Jada Stevens, Alexis Texas. Do we grant Angela White? I don't know. Maybe. Applegate? What was her name? I don't remember.
What are you talking about?
Ask the bench.
Dry Bones is trash. That's not true.
Approximately how many times have you listened to Jersey Lord of the Rings song? I've listened to the entire Jersey 30-minute set probably 20 times at this point.
What?
Oh, you weren't here when we had to play that.
Had to play it?
I mean, you requested it.
Taylor, you're such a disappointment in so many different ways. Y'all have a great day. We love you. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to Coleman Roofing and Construction. I was say Coleman Roofing and Supply. Coleman Roofing
They
and
got roofing
Construction.
supplies, maybe.
They
If
do.
you ask.
Because they would have to, because not only do they cover any type of roof that you need worked on, but they cover any size job, commercial, residential. They do it anywhere in the state in the Gulf South region, and it's not just the roof, it's the construction portion as well. So let's say the worst happens, right? And like a tree falls in your home. Not only do they fix the roof, but they fix all that interior. Let's say you have like water damage or something along those lines in your home due to a leak. They fix the leak, but they also do all your drywall and insulation repair. Again, they just go the extra mile, dude. They leave no stone unturned, doing everything they can to make sure that your project is done correctly, efficiently, and satisfactorily. So, ColemanRoof.com is the website. Coleman Roofing and Construction. Coleman Roof.